Unito na lugar isang God. Unito na lugar isang God.
Good morning, Guam.
Hello, everybody.
Let's do it. 6:18. It's the KUM News Takeover of Guam's favorite I-94. And we're not just taking over I-94. We are all over. You are surrounded by real information in real time. Good morning, Facebook. Hey. Hey, and good morning to our listeners, of course, on 93.9 FM. It is Guam's favorite. You know, I want to take a sec to thank Andy Wheeler. He's the program director here, and Vic and Ty, who are doing the morning show before this, for giving us this great platform to talk to you guys every day.
I know. We miss you guys. We miss you, Andy. Can't wait for him to come back.
Yeah, he's been in the self-isolation. You know, at the beginning of all this, Andy came out. We all know he's immunocompromised because of a genetic something or other that he's got going on.
Okay, TMI.
Yeah, no, he shared it on his
Okay.
Facebook. Yeah, so he's been in self-isolation with his cats. So if you were a cat video person, and we have a few of those here at KUAM, shout out Ken St. Nicholas. You check Andy Wheeler, 619. Okay, so here's the deal. Live on the radio, 93.9 FM. We're also streaming KUAM.com and the KUAM News app. On KUAM News Facebook, that's the live stream with the video. And 8 to 10 on TV 11. So we jump on for the last half of the show. And then there's also an audio stream of the broadcast on Docomo Channel 10.
Wow, there's a lot of ways to catch us.
Yeah, so we are definitely multimedia on many platforms. And, you know, we, again, made the commitment at the beginning of all this that this is the best way that we can get all the information out to the people of Guam. And there's some big info coming down, you know. I don't know if we're going to get this info before the end of the show, but I was on the phone with Dave Della Sola last night, and he anticipates getting an actual dollar amount for the Guam pandemic unemployment assistance. So a lot of people are asking about that, and some people have thrown around numbers, but, you know, we're going to try and get it straight from the labor director's mouth. And as we always do here on the show, we start with a deep dive into the day's COVID-19 news from the KUAM News team. Good morning, Sabrina Salas-Matanati.
Holiday, good morning, everybody. The latest from the Joint Information Center coming down at 10 o'clock last night. Public Health tested 33 individuals for COVID-19 on Monday. 0 tested positive through Public Health, 33 tested negative. One additional case, however, was clinically diagnosed. Public Health's overall count includes cases of COVID-19 that have been clinically diagnosed, confirmed cases tested by the Naval Health Research Center in San Diego, and confirmed positive cases through DLS. Now to date, there are a total of 134 confirmed cases of COVID-19 on Guam, with 58 recoveries and 5 deaths. All 71 remaining cases are in isolation. And there is another COVID casualty report on Guam. The Navy has announced the death of a sailor assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt. The sailor, who has not yet been identified until his family is notified, passed away on Monday due to COVID-related complications at Naval Hospital, Guam. It was on March 30th the sailor tested positive and was removed off the ship and placed in an isolation house on the Navy base with 4 other sailors. At about 8:30 a.m. on April 9th, the sailor was found unresponsive during a daily medical check. While Naval Base Guam emergency responders were notified, CPR was administered by fellow sailors and an on-site medical team in the house. The sailor was transferred to Naval Hospital, where the sailor was moved to ICU. As of today, 92% of the carrier's crew have been tested, with 585 testing positive for COVID-19 and 3,921 testing negative. 4,021 sailors have moved ashore. Senators are expected to vote today on a number of bills related to the coronavirus crisis, but what they won't be acting on is the governor's request for curfew authorization and sanctions for violators of her executive order restricting travel. She was seeking the added authority to help convince the public to stay home. Senators are now apparently backing away from that plea. They did not debate a bill by Speaker Tina Munoz-Barnes that imposes fines and possible imprisonment for violating an executive order. They also didn't entertain a bill by Senator Amanda Shelton authorizing a curfew for all. Here's more from Session Floor.
Colleagues, we are
Colleagues, we are
now on Bill 334-35 COR. At this time, I'll recognize Legislative Secretary Amanda Shelton. You are recognized.
Sitius Masi, Madam Speaker, I move to place 334 to the bottom of today's agenda.
On that motion, without any objection, there is a motion. Do you have an objection to that, Minority Leader?
Bill 334, Madam Speaker, this is, if they can read the title to this, please? Not sure.
I will go ahead and have the Legislative Secretary read the title.
Bill 334-35 COR is an act to amend Section 19404 of Article 4, Chapter 19, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to enforcement of rules promulgated in an executive order relative to a declared emergency to public health or safety.
Objection, Madam Speaker.
There is an objection. All those in favor of setting 334-35 COR to the bottom of the agenda signify by raising your hand.
Excuse me, Madam Speaker, I object to placing it on the floor. What do you mean, the bottom of the agenda?
Yeah, we move to set it to the bottom of the agenda, Minority Leader.
I still object. I still object.
On the motion to place 334-35 COR to set it aside and put it at the bottom of the agenda, please signify by raising your hand. 334 at the bottom of the agenda. 1, 2, 3, 4. Senator Therese, to put it at the bottom of the agenda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Senator
Not enough.
Huh? 7. And Clint?
Still not enough.
Is it up?
Only 6. Only 7.
Are both hands up?
Nope.
Huh? On the motion again, so that the clerk can see the hands, please signify by raising your hand to set 334-35 COR aside. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
6.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Motion carries. Legislative Secretary, you are still.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'd just like to explain for our body and the viewing public the reason why we put 334 to the bottom of the agenda today is because we are waiting for some legal clarifications to move forward on that bill.
Thank you very much. Legislative Secretary,
yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. For that same reason, I'd also like to move 335 to the bottom of the agenda.
On that motion to move 335-35 COR to the bottom of the agenda.
May I read the title, Madam Speaker?
Yes, you should.
Thank you. 335, an act to add a new item 7 and 8, section 19403 of Article 4, Chapter 19, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the emergency powers of the governor during a public health emergency.
On that motion, are there any objections? Hearing none or seeing none, motion carries. At this time, we will recognize...
And Bill 335 related to giving the governor more powers to enforce her executive orders. Now here is the governor during a press conference this afternoon who stressed why she needed those powers.
My request for enforcement power is just so that I can at least tie something to a penalty if you're not following the mandates or if you're not adhering to the curfews. By the way, has not been passed, nor has my enforcement request been passed. But the enforcement, Kevin, just gives it much more teeth, I think, to people because they might say, oh, so I didn't really follow the governor's law, so what, right? I'm not penalized. I don't have consequences as a result of this. So what the enforcement power does, it just strengthens the mandate to stay home. And I gave the example of how people don't really follow speed limits. And when they do the speed traps, oh, everybody the next day is going to follow the speed limit. But once the speed traps aren't there, they don't follow anymore. So that's just, I don't know, human behavior or human reaction. But this is a very serious situation. And I want to make sure that it's really impressed on our people's minds, and so that they can change their behavior. And like I said, travel only for essential.
Yesterday explaining why she wanted senators to pass Bill 334 and Bill 335. Those bills again were set aside, as has been Bill 340 by Senator Regine Bisco-Lee, which is relative to the issuance of unconditional cash payments eligible Guam residents under the state of public health emergency due to the coronavirus. Her bill was known as the Recovery Income Support and Empowerment, or RISE Act. Again, those bills have been set aside. Senators are scheduled to go back into session at 9 a.m., where they are anticipated to begin the voting process. In regional news, to date, there have been 11 confirmed cases with 2 deaths reported in the CNMI and still specimen results pending. The first case was reported on March 28th, and since then, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres has made announcements on reducing government costs as the economy continues to spiral downward. And members of the CNMI legislature have a $40 million question for the administration. Adriana Cotero takes a closer look.
A 50% cut in furlough action in order to reduce government 50% cut in furlough action in order to reduce government personnel costs. In addition, a 25% cut on all government retirees' pension, and no further funds transferred to the public school system for the remaining of the fiscal year. Those are the recent directives implemented by Governor Ralph Torres since the global pandemic has drowned the CNMI economy. Prior to these actions, the administration had implemented a 72-hour austerity measure for all government employees after Super Typhoon U2 struck in 2018 and burdened the CNMI financially. One solution to this long-standing crisis, the Community Benefit Fund that is under the casino license agreement, as explained by minority members CNMI Representative Tina Sablan.
Under the casino license agreement, IPI was required to contribute $10 million to the Community Benefit Fund in January 2018, another $10 million in June 2018, and then $20 million starting in October 2019. And every year after that, we should be getting $20 million in contributions from the Community Benefit Fund, according to the license.
The purpose of the fund is to benefit community programs or projects for education, scholarships, infrastructure, healthcare, employee retirement benefits. Further, the agreement also states the community fund contribution is under the control of IPI-CNMI until the governor directs the selected project or program for the fund distribution. Representative Sablan says to date there should be some record of $40 million in contributions. However, this has not been the case, as Sablan and fellow members of the minority sent an Open Government Act request to the Office of the Governor.
According to the governor's records, they can only account for $1.2 million in distributions that went to 4 programs in 2018, and there are no records of any other distributions after that.
Sablan adds the governor's wife, First Lady Diane Torres, issued an announcement of receiving funds into her foundation, but there were no records to present the transaction.
But what we do know is that there should be at least 30-some million in this community benefit fund that could go right now to benefiting our people.
Leader of the minority members, Representative Ed Propes, says while throughout the years they have echoed the question of where the fund is, the time for it is now. KUAM reached out to IPI-CNMI for an update on the Community Benefit Fund at the start of 2020. IPI-CNMI spokesperson Tao Ching said, quote, "To date, there is still millions of dollars in the fund. Imperial Pacific will continue to support and protect the community's well-being by actively engaging and leading programs in the area of environment, destination enhancement, culture, education, and social services," end quote. However, the office of the CNMI governor says, quote, because of the tourism decline over the number of years, IPI CNMI has not been able to pay into the fund as they did in 2017. As of news time, the company has not provided any further comments. Additionally, Governor Ralph Torres has not responded to KUAM's request for an interview.
Ultimately, there's 4 words that we all need to be in unison in saying. Show me the money.
According to the minority members, the Office of the Public Auditor was asked to conduct an audit of the Community Benefit Fund for these records over a month ago, and IPI CNMI has not responded. You can view KUAM's interview in its entirety with the minority members
here on Guam. For safety reasons, the Archdiocese of Vigaña has made the decision to reduce hours and curtail its feeding of the homeless program at its ministry to the homeless soup kitchen starting this week. Growing non-compliance of safety measures by soup kitchen clients and a recent incident of drunkenness and fighting in which a knife was drawn has prompted the decision. Feeding of daily hot meals to the homeless has been suspended. Instead, Ministry to the Homeless will distribute Balutan to-go bags filled with a 2-day supply of non-perishable food to each client 3 days a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 5 to 5:30 p.m. during this COVID-19 pandemic. In national news, President Trump said he would spend the weekend thinking about what he calls the toughest decision of his presidency: when and how to reopen the economy. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
President Trump is preparing to announce as early as tomorrow a new team of doctors and business leaders to help determine when and how to reopen the country.
We'll be announcing names on Tuesday who's on that, and that'll play a role, but ultimately I have to make that decision.
The White House is eyeing May to possibly get people back to work, but some in hard-hit areas are concerned that may be too soon.
We start to get back on our feet too soon. I fear, based on the data we're looking at, that we could be throwing gasoline on the fire.
There's no question we're going to be opening at some risk. I think that's inevitable. There's a lot of pressure right now from the business community on not just the administration, but governors as well, to start reopening the economy.
But Dr. Anthony Fauci has said economic decisions will be dictated by what the virus is doing.
It's going to be depending where you are in the country, the nature of the outbreak that you've already experienced, and the threat of an outbreak that you may not have experienced.
A New York Times report says Dr. Fauci and other medical experts recommended social distancing in mid to late February, weeks before the White House guidelines were put in place. Dr. Fauci was asked whether that could have made a difference.
Mitigation earlier, you could have saved lives. Obviously, no one is going to deny that. But what goes into those kinds of decisions is complicated. But you're right. I mean, obviously, if we had right from the very beginning shut everything down, it may have been a little bit different. But there was a lot of pushback about shutting things down back then.
President Trump pushed back on the New York Times story, calling it fake news, and he retweeted a tweet that included the hashtag #FireFauci. The president insists he acted early with travel restrictions on China. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Guam's Tumon branch drive-through window will be open from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That is Monday through Friday and closed on Saturday. Bank of Guam's Hagåtña and Anderson Air Force Base branches remain open from 9 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday only, and all other Guam branches remain closed. Now, the transactions at the Tumon drive-through are limited to check cashing, deposits and withdrawals, and Bank of Guam loan and credit card payments. And finally, IT&E announces that their Stay Home Challenge will continue until April 30th. Residents of Guam and the CNMI now have more time to enter to win one of 3 new Samsung Galaxy phones with 1 year of free unlimited 4G LTE data, talk, and text in the IT&E Stay Home Challenge. Plus, each winner will also receive a free phone case. Residents can enter to win by posting a photo or short video that shows how they are passing the time while they are social distancing by staying at home. All you have to do is follow ITE Guam or ITE CNMI on Instagram, like the Instagram post announcing the contest, then share the announcement to Instagram story. Upload either a photo or video no longer than 1 minute to your Instagram feed that shows how you're passing the time while you're social distancing by staying at home. Entrants must tag IT and use ITE Stay Home Challenge in the caption.
All right. Thank you to IT&E, a proud sponsor of Containing COVID. Also, Kalu Enterprises at 637 That was a deep dive into COVID news for the day, and we do that again at 8 p.m. when we start our broadcast
8
on
p.m.?
8 a.m.
I'm not staying till 8 p.m.
Yeah, okay, me neither. It's Tuesday, day 28 of mandatory shutdown of non-essential businesses and lockdown. Hey, let's get Mayor Robert Hoffman from Sin City. He's our correspondent in Sinahanya. Good morning, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we haven't heard from you in a few days. What can you update us on everything that's been going on in your neck of the jungle, and then also with the Mayor's Council?
Well, here in Sinahanya, we're still continuing to perform our, help our people and perform our services here. It's quite we're starting up to kind of just get back to some of the normalcy in terms of getting the grass cut in some of the areas. The bits of rain here and there have helped, and then so we're actually getting there's no more dirt, so it's actually grass is growing in some areas. And then we're just helping residents. We're getting a lot more resident requests for trash assistance because they really can't afford those bins anymore. And so I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a problem that's gonna be creeping up on everybody because that's $40-some a month, and it's pretty steep for these people and for a lot of people who are gonna be out of work. So that's something we've been responding to and helping a lot with. And from what I understand, solid waste is also not customer service is not open, so they can't return some of the bins that people are willing to pay. That have either got taken away right before the shutdown happened, and so now we just have houses with trash piling up on the side.
Well, there was some positive news, right? I understand that they had cleared the cluster for the Sinahanya Senior Center.
Yeah, we actually had, they cleared. We understand it got cleared, and we kind of were a bit upset about how we found out. And we were originally told only one at the time, and so we helped with that one case in the tracing and everything, and then lo and behold, the last week's news told us, there was 3. We're like, what? And so we got, I was very pissed off, and I made it known that, I said, I wish you kind of told us, because our people are out there, especially we know that they're home isolation, our people are out there delivering meals to these homes, and I'm setting them, basically putting them in danger, not knowing, I said, if you just told us, and they said, yeah, well, the HIPAA, and I said, yeah, but you can't knowingly put us in danger either.
Right.
So, if you just told me, where's your food delivery list, remove persons A, B, C, or, 4, 7, and 15 because their interest, you don't have to tell me what they have, just their interest, or they're not going to be receiving meals, or we can figure out another way to get it to them. So it was very, it was very difficult. And so I raised my concerns, and so public health has stepped up to assist us in the delivery of the meals. And so I feel it's safe, really, for our people to go out, because we don't know what kind of exposure they were exposed to. And, at this point, we still don't even know who the other 2 are, because I've been tracking all the seniors that are there, and I talk to them, we meet them, we made them, we even got them Palm Sunday. We made them get well cards. We're their only contact to the outside world, and I'm glad that they're staying home. But the point is that we're the only people that are coming in contact with them. And if they are positive COVID cases, that kind of would have been really weird that we would have been there to see them, and then we go from one senior to the next senior to the next senior. So it didn't make any sense to not tell us at all. And they kept assuring us, but the person, if the person's okay and now, and I said, yeah, but they live with other people too. So they may get cleared, but the next person may have it, or the next person may have it, and the daughter, the son may be the one coming out getting the food and not knowing they're asymptomatic and have it. So, it's something we're trying to work through, and so we're relying on public health to do their job.
Well, I'm just at a loss for words, Mayor, because, we had Mayor Rudy on, and he's not really a mincer of the words, so he obviously feels the same way. We've had just a countless parade of mayors coming on the show saying, hey, we need to know this information, we want more transparency, and it's still not happening, huh?
Nope, it's not, and that's the thing, it's how do you knowingly... If I'm an agency and I know what the rules are, and I know what the cases are, and I know when there's dangerous situations, I'm going to make sure that if the other people who are assisting me as an agency go and respond to that they're fully prepared and equipped and know how to handle it and have some sort of training. I mean, our volunteers and our staff, bless them, they work hard, they respond to everything under the sun, and, imagine having to tell them, hey, you're going to go to this person's house, and then how do we break the news to them? So, by the way, that 3 times you were there, the 4 times that you helped deliver, that person may have had COVID, and then like, oh my God, Mayor, they came out and got the food for me, and so that's kind of where we were at. And I said, why would you knowingly put people's lives in that kind of danger? And that really isn't a good reflection on how the operation is. So I made it known. I made it known to Homeland. I made it known to Public Health that I said, I'm beyond upset. And the fact is, they didn't even have the courtesy to tell me until I saw it on a news story on Friday.
Wow.
So they may have cleared, but if I said, are you sure this is Sinahanya? Because families were calling me on Friday saying, Mayor, what's going on? I thought there was only one. I said, me too. I thought there was only one, and, because I had direct contact with everybody else on that list. And, if they were removed, they were at the hospital, and they don't need a meal. Okay, I'll take them off the list. But, they only asked me for one list for one specific thing. So if another person did contract COVID, was it a different attendance date? Was it a different time? Because not all the seniors go every day. So we didn't get any answers.
You said that Public Health is assisting you now. How is that going, and in what manner are they giving you assistance?
They're delivering the food. Their food arrives, we sort it out, we send out 126 meals, and then they have drivers and volunteers from other groups, and they go out and deliver it. And they have the PPEs that they need to kind of make sure that they do their job. And they keep telling me, "Oh, it's safe now." I'm like, I think I want a few things done. I think I want test our employees. If our employees were potentially exposed for the last 3 weeks that we were doing this, already, just for peace of mind, test them, just to show that, hey, sorry we put you in danger, but here, which probably you are negative, not a problem. You were never any harm, because if it was dangerous, we would have had a person in the hospital, whatever, to just make them feel okay. And then two is test the household, because I'm sure that household is also kind of like, I think they have concerns. And if the household comes back clean, I'll resume services easily and take over. But it's how they want to operate. So by all means, they can do it if they want to step up and have to use. I mean, my pool of drivers and volunteers, they're nice, they're great, and I'm grateful for them. But I think they have the same concerns. And me, as the person who asked them to do that, I would never knowingly put them in any danger. Right. And so I pulled back, and I said, I'm not going to do this. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to ask you guys to step up if I'm not aware of the situation in the front line. And that's the thing. Any good leader would make sure what's the front line look like, and okay, let's do this together. And I was personally delivering meals too, and my upsetting words were, if you infect the whole office and I'm out, there's no other agency that can do our job.
Right. Mayor, there's like an obvious break there. I don't even want to say a communication breakdown, but it looks like no communication. What about former Mayor Bob Lozama? Isn't he Adelup's liaison to the Mayor's Council? Has there been any communication with him, or is that something that we need to work on?
We've talked with him, but for projects and other things, not on this specifically, because I think this one deals directly with local government and Homeland deals with Public Health, and Public Health deals with all the others. So there isn't a direct line of communication somewhere, somehow. And what we're seeing, we've seen in the States, the governors talk to the mayors, it goes out, that's how things are done. But for whatever reason, it's, we're not really that much into the plan, involved in the plan of this. So I guess that's part of their pandemic plan doesn't really include the local authorities at the ground. So, we're going to continue to do our work and service the people and up. So right now, one of the things we're dealing with as mayors is the homeless. And, you saw that the home ministry to the homeless has pulled back in the food services. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're getting, and we're seeing homeless, everywhere now, out and about, and we're actually seeing some new homeless. So that's gonna, it's disturbing to us to see where are they coming from? Are they just coming from another village? So, we're sharing pictures and asking each other, is this from your village? Is this person from your village, or where do they come from? And we're seeing if they're just, either people who got kicked out for whatever reason and are now in the streets. So we're doing our own investigations and trying to see this, but we're trying our best to kind of see what assistance they can get and what agencies are open that can immediately assist those that are either newly homeless, going to be homeless, or that are just out on the streets, because the food situation is hard. I know the commodities were distributed yesterday, but it is not going to be enough, because we have a lot more people utilizing all the services of all the different nonprofit groups that assist people in need. So, I serve on the board for the Archdiocese for the Ministry of the Homeless, and so that's a very hard decision to do, because we don't have the protective gear. And then two of the homeless had COVID. they won't even tell us there, so we don't know if we're servicing them when they stand in line to get the food. They congregate enough, and we don't have the people out there saying, "Hey, separate, keep 6 feet apart," and paint the line. So we just provide a service. We open the door, we hand them out the food, and they go off and they eat it. So it's dangerous for the people that we have there, and these are great, beautiful volunteers, Madame Co, the Christian mothers and all, and I wouldn't want that. And so we're lacking that, and we're lacking host families who would normally be scheduled, but because of the situations don't either want to encounter, or also financial hardships that they can no longer be host families. So there is a direct need for that. So that's why we've reduced the hours of operation Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's something that we know that's going to have an impact in the community.
Why do you think you guys have been shut out or not being given any sort of information by the, Joint Information Center, by the governor's office, whoever's in charge?
We don't know. I know that we get what we I guess it's like a need to know basis, and so they only tell us what we need to know. And even though we're asking for the things that we're asking are not far and unreasonable, I think I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish by doing that. We could help, but if they're saying that they have a handle on it, then there's nothing we can do. And I don't think any of us can. We can't go in there and test people ourselves. And
I'm sorry, is that what they're saying, that we got a handle on it? Is that pretty much what they're telling you guys?
We've been sending our questions up for the first day, and getting responses back is few and far between, and it's hard. It's difficult to get that because sometimes JIC doesn't know, or and they send their questions up, and it gets sent to the lab, and the lab just is like, oh, we're busy testing, and we'll get that information when we get it to you. And so it took a while just to get those profiles out, for them to compile it to kind of come out. So,
well, I heard, Mayor, that in the 2 weeks back, I think it was a couple Fridays back, where the governor did the press conference about put the letter on your car and stuff. JIC had no heads up, and I heard that they found that out like you did watching the press conference.
Yeah. So are there things that could be done better? Absolutely. And I think that's we're willing to help. We've offered our help. We've said it again. Help us, help you. And I guess it's hard to fathom because it depends who's in charge. Is it the governor? Is it the director of public health? Who's making the calls and the shots? Is it GMH? Is it So there's a lot of response. There's a lot of coordination that has to happen, and I know it's difficult. I wouldn't want to be in that position.
You guys should try and get in on the Zoom briefings that we get.
You want me to send you the link, Mayor?
I mean, you only get two questions, and then they mute you.
Yeah.
But because of the security risk with Zoom, we've actually opted out of that.
Oh.
So
there's a security risk?
There's lots. You can just Google that, and you'll see all the security risks.
Oh, great.
Identity theft. They can tap your phone. They can do a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, Zoom's not as wealthy as Google, so I would probably do a Google Meet instead, or whichever else. But that's a whole tech side of that. But we've offered. We just said, give us just the normal press phone call, conference that we could do, and then we can do that. So it's a lot easier for what we can do. But we get invited, and so several of us are just going to say, we're going to continue to do our jobs. You need us, you know where to find us. So that's kind of how we've been able to operate now. And so we're just trying to, flatten the curve, trying to see not get any more cases out there. But we've been busy reporting, gatherings, and they keep asking us, mayors, we need your help. I'm like, we're not going to help you in that sense. We're going to let the police do it because some of these, people legitimately, we have a hard time not even just approaching them and seeing that. And we tell them, I said, as much as we remind them, don't get big groups, people still did. And so, we relied on the police to assist because, we're trying to figure out what's the messaging here and how do we go about going after this and reminding people, hey, don't break this, but, unless you're doing it for this reason or for this reason or,
Right.
So it's a big mess. And so we're just going to continue to do our work on our end.
Well, you keep it up. I know you guys are definitely doing a lot out there on the village level, the front line.
Hey, we're trying, and there's a lot of people out here, and we just want to make sure everybody's safe, and I think that's why we're going to continue to reiterate please give us the information. We know we take a solemn oath, just like the police officers, just like the governor, and we have people's information in our verification systems. We know who they are. We know things about them, but we're not out there blabbing it because we rely, that confidentiality, we take that oath very seriously, and we take that confidentiality very seriously. So for somebody to say, I can't tell you because of this, I'm like, well, just that I know who's in their household, I know their birth dates, and, kind of have that all in my system, and it's just, so we rely on our residents, and some of our residents have been really good and forthcoming about letting us know they actually have COVID. And they tell us, and so that's what we've all been kind of doing. And so I think the mayors don't have a full picture of it, but for those residents that were forthcoming, we do understand because they're the ones that we're asking to get assistance to immediately in terms of food or any type of other assistance and making sure that they're safe and their family members are safe. So I've seen some households where they wrote it on a cardboard box and this I'm trying COVID house and please please stay back, do not enter. And so they're just doing their thing. And so, they're willing to let people know. I don't see why not. And I think maybe you should ask the patient that.
Right.
Say, can we let the public know your village? And maybe if they say yes, then maybe we can probably get a better picture of it.
Right. Well, thanks, Mayor. Appreciate what you're doing. And just sorry about the frustration. The community feels it too. We actually just got a comment. Can the community get in the Zoom? The citizens have more questions for the governor. Well, it's a big security risk. So, I don't know.
They should. I think that everyone should. That it's your right to question those in power. So, whether it's be writing it an email or doing the 311 WhatsApp. I don't know if they got that back up and running or.
No, I think it was inoperable as of yesterday.
Yeah. So it's.
But I don't even know if you could ask. Can you ask questions, or it's just a prompted thing like?
I think there
press
you
one.
can't ask questions, but I think the other ones, I think you can because then you can actually end up talking to a live person.
On the WhatsApp.
No, on the 311 when you dial.
Yeah.
Depends where you go, then you end up talking to a live person. And they do send the questions up the chain because we've gotten questions from us, posed to us as mayors through that channel where they end up calling an agency. The agency calls up saying, Mayor, we got a concerned caller from 311 about this person or, this gathering or this business. And then we kind of go out and do our visual checks and everything. And then we report back to those responsible agencies. And so, we are part of that kind of communication chain.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We should call 311. Hey, can we get approval to have Dr. Felix Cabrera talk with us?
There we go.
Just, now we got to go get approval from the front office just to talk to a member of the Physicians Advisory Group, on top of the fact that we get muted during these press conferences. So...
what I feel like the media is just kind of like biding their time because it's not always going to be Zoom press conferences and muting and woo boy, when we get a chance that we're not going to be muted,
yeah, the thing is that I don't know if people are getting fatigued also on just getting so much news already, and everyone just wants it to be over with. That's kind of the general attitude of what it is, and I don't know what the risks are. And one thing, I would say the harder things that we had to do is we actually even asked the Archdiocese when are they gonna resume Mass, because I know they said April 18 was their restart date, but I understand they're going to be sending out a press release tomorrow announcing, what other measures are taken by the churches. So, that's something that we found comforting, and we thank KOM for covering the Mass Cathedral. It's been great. Your Facebook page has been great. So I'm saying, wow. And I hope it continues for, in that manner that people who can't attend services actually take a part, do that. And I saw other churches and other faiths doing that as well over this Easter weekend, and I was just like, wow, this is kind of cool to see. And Guam's really stepping up in the technology side, so I'm pretty sure it's making Jason happy.
Yeah,
it is.
Or like tired. I got to do this time, then I got to live stream this.
Yeah,
but we're learning a lot from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is his time. I mean, this is what he lives for. All the techie stuff, Google Chrome extension.
There you go. He should do a tutorial how to get people to do the distance learning on Google Classroom and all the other things. I think most parents that have not touched that before, and so it's been a learning curve for a lot of us.
I hear you. Class Dojo. Download the Class Dojo.
Don't get Bree started. Bree was trying to give her boys school a big headache because I think I overheard something about, you mean I'm paying this tuition so I can be the teacher?
You should you should tell them the school should use Zoom. It's a lot easier. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do that.
Yeah,
But
they do.
I'm at work when they're doing it. So it's
All right, Mayor. Don't get restarted on this. We only got 4 hours.
All right, take care.
Okay, see you.
Adios.
Okay, stop. There you go. Sinania Mayor Robert Hoffman, 656. Hey, we got to take a break. We're trying to get Dr. Hohen Wen of the Governor's Physicians Advisory Council on. Yeah, so we're talking to him. And then Mary Rhodes from GHRA is also, we got to give her a call. So we'll do this break, and we'll come back with more containing COVID. We're KUAM-FM and Agatni, Guam. Good morning on you.
Good morning.
Adulting isn't so hard when you have a mobile plan.
Self-storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's, offers fully covered loading and unloading area with individual pin-coded gate and door access. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Across the sea, come on my friend, take a trip with me to an island that I call home.
701. Hey, good morning to our Facebook Live viewers. 702, containing COVID. We try and get as much local music as we can onto the radio. Coming up, we got Dr. Hoa Wen. Also, we're going to talk with Major Tom Stambaugh of the Salvation Army and find out what they're working on. Obviously, working on getting more donations as there's a great and tremendous need out here in the streets. 702. Let's go over to the phones right now where Mary Rhodes from the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association is on the line. Good morning, Mary.
Hi, good morning.
I haven't heard from you in a bit. First of all, I just want to rewind. How was your Easter?
Oh, we've been working every day. So although everybody was having time with the family, I was able to call people and wish them happy Easter.
Okay. We wanted to talk to you about the latest with the sailors that are in quarantine. I know when we last spoke, we were talking about how the agreement, I believe it was with the Department of Defense, that the government was going to be housing 3,000 to 3,500 sailors in quarantine hotels. And I noticed that it's now 4,021 sailors have moved ashore. Are we still at that 3,500 limit?
At 4,200 is actually shared between Navy Base Guam and the hotels.
Okay.
Prior to engaging with the hotels, they already had several individuals in different facilities on base.
Mm-hmm.
And so really outside in the hotels, we have about 3,300.
Oh, okay. And let's go ahead and move on to the this program. I just noticed it on one of the JIC releases about the unified outreach efforts for the business community. It's an effort between GVB, GHRA, and the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, as you guys know, you were the first one to interview me on the outreach efforts we've been doing with our business community with regards to not just the SBA loan, but also any of the rapid response and Hire Guam programs, and now with the unemployment benefit that has been created through additional funding with Guam Department of Labor and U.S. Department of Labor. So we started that process maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's taken us some time to get some movement with those numbers and getting that outreach going. So GVB and Guam Chamber of Commerce have been added to the effort. And so it's really great because they obviously have more staff than GHRA, who only has a staff of 4, and they actually have departments that do outbound calls at GVB with the marketing and market research departments. And so what we've also done is consolidate our membership listing between GVB, Chamber, and GHRA, because that would be a better representation of the private sector.
Mm-hmm. And so how many businesses, when you consolidate all of them, what are we looking at? Like, I know this says an estimated 800 businesses. Is that right?
Well, 800 is just Chambers listing, and then GHRA's is about 300 plus,
Mm-hmm.
and then with GVB, I think it was about 600. When you consolidate it all together, the list was about 800.
Mm-hmm.
What about this, something in the press conference yesterday where the Admiral had said that there was some kind of investigation, a sailor break-in
Mm-hmm.
quarantine at the hotel. Is that something that you guys are involved with, or is that something that, since the military is kind of policing everything, that's on their end?
Well, the areas where I'm in charge of is the initial lodging requirements in getting all of the hotels ready. I'm also there during all of the transfers, and then any issues that come up on a daily basis, whether it's internet, Wi-Fi services, to the meals, to reports on what's going on. And so in this one particular case, in a hotel, the individual had tried to leave the room, and because they're not getting keys, it was noticeable that they were out of their room. And so we have Marine Corps on all of the floors, and so they were identified. So I think that because it is under investigation, I think the most important thing is that once they identified it and were able to get the actual video of that person exiting the room, that's now under investigation with the military. That person was immediately removed from the premises and brought back to base. And so we have various reasons of why they would leave the premises, but that was definitely only one incident, and it was handled expeditiously.
Wow, so he managed to break out of the room, right? Because you said that you guys take the keys away?
It wasn't breakout. He opened the door.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
I don't
I was
know
gonna
for
say-
what reason he opened that door. He didn't break out.
So you don't know if
Okay, he
if
just walked out. Okay.
You don't know if he left the hotel property and went gallivanting around, or maybe meet up with a girl, or...
He did not leave past
Okay,
that floor.
okay, mhm.
So we have Marines on the floors and doing patrol. So, and then we have also military throughout the front desk area and command. We have a command center at every hotel and all of the exit areas. So it's very well staffed, manned, and patrolled on a regular basis.
What do you make of these? I think there was something the Admiral said about sailors who were in the hotel are now being tested and coming up positive. Is that accurate, Mary?
No, that's not.
No. Every day, the military are being screened twice a day. And so with those screenings, there could be times where, whether it's somebody who might have asthma or whatever the reason might be, at any time they show any kind of symptom, they are removed. We do not get reports on whether or not they're positive. That is not for our information.
Right.
We want to make sure everybody gets the medical care they need. And so we are not getting that report because of HIPAA especially. And so all we know is we've received more than, we only know the rooms we allocated, the rooms that were issued, and then what is remaining.
I see.
Okay, so the government is not privy to whether or not a sailor who tested negative and is in a quarantine hotel, whether or not they've since tested positive and removed. We're not given that information.
No, the government of Guam receives regular reports. Me in the command center and being in part of the command center task force team and in charge of the hotels, we are not releasing data back to any of us in private sector, and so that information is not necessary when it comes to our processes. We just need to know if somebody vacated the room.
Is there any anxiety on your part, though, knowing that how this virus is so insidious and that people could be asymptomatic or they could get the symptoms, quickly and then being taken out of the hospitals, maybe later testing positive? I mean, is there any...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why all the preventive measures are there. The hotels, once somebody leaves, the command center, not the hotel, but the command center actually closes that door, closes out the room, and they double lock it. They've been given access to the master keys and from the hotels, and so they double lock it to ensure nobody re-enters back into the room. It's closed for the duration of the quarantine period and then closed for an additional 14 days. And so it's going to be quite a long process, and that's what's written in our contract to ensure that nobody has access to those rooms. And as you know, through anything that comes out from CDC or WHO, as long as these rooms are closed for 7 days, whatever is in there, the virus should already be dissipate. And so we're able to re-enter the room and decontaminate. So we're already going to assume the worst on the situation and treat it as such. But nobody can re-enter, nobody from the hotel can re-enter the hotel except for back of the house operations. So even if, let's say, that room was vacated on day 5, that room has to stay vacated the remainder of the quarantine period until everybody is out, and then it's already closed for another 14 days to allow 7 days for closure and then 7 days for cleaning from an outside source.
Wow. That's good to hear.
So, yeah, so we have reduced all of the risks down to almost nothing with regards to the facility itself and to our local people, to anyone who works in the hotels. The command centers, honestly, are the ones that are taking on all the responsibilities outside of the actual cooking of the food and delivery to the service elevators. Once it's in those floors and through the service elevators, that's where the handoff is taken, and everybody is wearing PPEs at that point. So contact is down to nothing, but exposure is minimal because it's being done in what we call green areas, where there's no access point to anyone who has potentially come in contact with the virus.
Wow, so it seems like you guys have really thoroughly put in these mitigation measures, and you're also very thoroughly following them.
We are following them, and I am there at the command center all day long. We usually have an 8 a.m. briefing, and we are there all day long and even through the night. If there are any issues, whether there are complaints on food or Wi-Fi or whatever, we are working directly with the hotels, and we're mitigating those issues on a daily basis. But all of the security and the actual protocols with regards to food transfer or even how the health screenings are conducted. Those are the times when, the military are really handling all that, as well as any trash removal or laundry days. That's all being handled by our command center. So we really need to consider there's a lot of military who are supporting these different outfits, and they come from different command groups from both, mostly Navy. We had one Air Force group. And so these are the men and women who are actually putting themselves at risk in the hotels on a daily basis. But even then, they all have PPE, and they know which areas are considered red, but they sanitize immediately after they've walked through those areas. So they're cleaning immediately after they walk through those areas on each floor.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
like
Hey,
you
that
guys are
was
doing a lot.
that was like a power 12 minutes there, Mary.
I just wanted to ask, so just real quickly, the Department of Labor Director Dave De La Sola, he was on our show yesterday, and he was talking about how they're anticipating at least 38,000 people to file claims for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program and the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program. And out of that 38,000, can you tell me what are the numbers for the tourism industry? The latest numbers?
Well, initially when we first started reporting, right, they had about 6,000, I believe, and we were, or 7,000, and we were close to 3,500. So that was about half at that time. It's a little too early to tell at this point what those percentages would be, but considering that the tourism industry makes up 35% of the island's population, I would expect between 35 to 50% of that. That would be my assumption based on just sheer numbers and how much we do employ during this time. And also keep in mind, although hotels are operating, we are operating on a very skeleton crew, and so it's not like everybody is back to work. It's an skeleton crew just for the back of the house operations and some operations with rooms division and managing rooms, but it's going to be minimal. So just keep that in mind. The numbers between 35 to 50% is what we've seen so far of total numbers reported by DOL.
All right, before we let you go, any advice then to any tourism industry employees or businesses on how they can avail themselves of these benefits in terms of what they need to do?
Yes, GVB, GHRA, and Guam Chamber of Commerce are working diligently to get this information out to everybody. There's a real simple process with a rapid response email in notifying the Guam Department of Labor. There are forms that we will help guide you with. And so I think if everybody just works on that process, we can get you the support you need in a more efficient manner. But in addition to that, I know that there are some concerns about, this is now, but what about later with recovery? And so I'm a member of the Coronavirus Task Force Group together with GVB. And so we have looked at recovery plans. So once we are able to flatten that curve and start working with our key source markets, please be aware that a lot of those recovery plans are on paper, and we would start implementing that. But at GVB, a lot of the departments are still in touch with their key source markets. If we were to start to activate that plan and work with the airlines to start flying again to Guam. But we need to make sure we flatten the curve first and really work in concert with GVB before those decisions are made, because the last thing you want is possible reinfection from these areas that might still have coronavirus as well. Right. So I'm on that group, as well as the Economic Advisory Group that's led by David John and Joaquin Cook. So we're discussing areas of importance with regards to private sector and some of the things that we can look at from a mitigation standpoint, where businesses can actually maximize their efforts during this time, kind of like with the SBA loans and the stimulus package, but also with regards to recovery and what's going to be the new normal, because as you can tell, it's going to take probably, at least a year, if not two, before we could really see our tourism numbers get back to the levels they were at. I think people are going to be more distinguishing when they come to making travel decisions. So we have to understand what shifts in the market will take place And right now, military is the one that we know through additional exercises planned throughout the year. That is going to be, they also have a new normal in how they've handled the coronavirus with the USS Roosevelt. And so I think a lot of that needs to be considered as we plan ahead and we start identifying areas that we will be challenged with in how quickly we can respond and contaminate or contain things, and learning from our best practices and some of the challenges that we've had along the way, both on the government side, the private sector side, as well as the military side.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Mary.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing and your
Bye.
people.
Take care and
You
happy
take care.
belated Easter.
Yes,
Okay.
you too.
Thanking
And don't worry,
everybody.
we got a commitment from Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. We're going to redo Easter. What? He said we're going to redo Easter. I have a recording.
because I was in the task force hotel, so that would be great to see my family.
Right, yeah. So we are. When all this is over, I'm going to hold him to it, and I'm going to get it on a Friday so we get a 3-day weekend out of it.
One big fiesta.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe on a Monday so we could do it on a Sunday and then have the next day off, you know.
There you go. That's
Okay.
better because Sunday is always Easter.
Right.
So.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mary.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Be safe.
719, of course, Mary Rhodes from the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, very thoroughly
She's
laying
on
out-
it, man.
Yeah, she is.
She
yeah.
is on it.
Good lady to get on the phone. 719, we got a couple doctors coming up the rest of the hour. And, well, we'll just keep it here. There's a lot of info. Also waiting to hear from David De La Sola, the labor director, who told me that they should be getting the amount for the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance.
Is this the WBA? I think it's the wage benefit.
Yeah, it's
Amount.
Yeah,
Wage benefit
there
amount.
you go. There you go. Wow. They got to hire you over labor. You got your acronyms down. 719, it is containing COVID. Good morning, Guam.
Try McDonald's oven-baked apple pie, wrapped in a warm sugar glaze.
Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E. Be healthy. Be informed with IT&E.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
it's time I place my eyes on you, boy. Yeah. My heart said follow through, but I know now that
A little bit of a Monty and mixed plate. Good morning. Hey, remember, just run through the ways that you can catch Containing COVID. Obviously, where it all gets started, 93.9 FM, Guam's favorite audio stream on Docomo Channel 10. And we're streaming live on our KUAM News Facebook. If you could, watch, share the show. A lot of info coming down that, we feel like a lot of you guys should definitely know. So if you could do us that favor, thank you so much. And then we're also going live, KUAM TV 11 from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and streaming on the KUAM News app and on KUAM.com.
That's right. You get to see Mr. Man Meat on TV.
For those of you who are looking at this now and wondering, who is Mr. Man Meat? There was Rosalind Aguero, Tabeluz and si Chat, commented that, what was it, Man Meat Popsicle or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bree's like, get over it. No, just I want... Okay.
He wants to feel that love.
Yeah, 724. Let's get Dr. Hoa, one of the...
members of the Physicians Advisory Group. Hi, Dr. Hoa.
Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Chris. Good
Thanks
morning.
for talking with us.
Yeah, just first of all, because we're just going to start with here. Dr. Felix Cabrera has been a regular on the show and reached out to get him to call in. And he advised me that we now had to go through Adeloop to get any interviews with him. And so I put the ask out to Crystal Paco San Augustine yesterday. I never got a response on it. So that's where we are. But tell me, is that concerning for you at all that we're muzzling doctors?
I'm not sure what the scenario is, guys. I mean, I think that we are free to say anything on the radio that's responsible and try to help the patient and the public understand more about the COVID-19. So I'm not quite sure about that reply.
Yeah. How about the reply I got from Adeloop, which was no reply? I think that was a reply. And I totally agree with you. Dr. Cabrera has really put out a lot of great information.
Yeah.
He's been a voice, a steady voice of, impressing upon people how serious we should be taking this COVID-19 crisis. And I just felt, I put something on my Twitter that really, of all the things to worry about, you want to put a gag order on doctors? How does that save lives? You guys focus on saving lives and not, I don't know what the motivation was before that. And it's interesting because, we can get other directors who are, a vital part of this COVID-19 response. And I don't get it. But anyway, turning the page now. Thank you for coming on. What kind of update do you got with us, Doc? What can you tell us about these? Over the last few days, we've had a couple of zero positives from public health testing.
Yeah, it's a lot. We're going to do a lot more testing. Public health trying to triage who's a high priority, and it's not high priority, then they go to DOS. So we test a lot more, and DOS is response time a little bit slower than public health. It takes anywhere from 4 to 7 days. So any test run the last 2 days, go to Hawaii, and sometimes you don't find out 4 to 7 days later. So and so far, depend on what public health triage a patient. You can have zero here, but I just want public health. I just want the public to understand that those numbers really don't mean much. Really, don't put your guard down because we all keep our finger crossed. That's a true representation, but it's really hard to tell with this virus. So we still have to be cautious and do not put our guard down. If we are beating the virus, then we got to continue to do what we do. I'm really happy to see the roadblock. I know a lot of people don't like it, but what I tell you, this would be a long time ago, is to keep people at home. I waited in line, from about 20 minutes yesterday, but that's just like you go to the airport through TSA. It keep you safe, and that's what the roadblock's all about.
Yeah, I was on my way home from work, and I was in the roadblock traffic, But I was hoping, that I would get to talk with the National Guard to hear, what he was going to say to me. But then they broke down, and I was like, man.
Oh, no. They actually,
Sabrina needs that interaction.
Yeah, they give you some information about COVID-19. They ask you certain questions.
Mhm.
It's educational for them. It's very brief. At least they say something, and they
Yeah.
ask you where you're going.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's inconvenient, but this is where it protects the public. There's a few of us that still is not follow the rule, and those are the ones that will first come to the emergency room and first come to the clinic and say I'm sick. And it's, unfortunately that's how things are.
Yeah, and it's now from 10 to 4, I believe, and then 6 to 10, and they now have a lane for essential workers and emergency personnel, because I think that wasn't the case on Saturday when it first went into effect.
Yeah, I used that lane yesterday and it worked. So I mean, you can really lie to your I think most people know who's essential. So
Right.
It did help a lot.
Doc, I kind of appreciate that they did these checkpoints, threw them out there, saw what the problems were, and kind of went back to the drawing board. We spoke with the TAG yesterday, TAG Esther Agagi, and she said, yeah, we're fine-tuning, trying to add an extra lane. So I think they're doing what they can. But I want to go back to what you said about TSA and protecting the public. And I think a lot of people out here know that that's why we're doing these checkpoints, is because they're just trying to add that extra measure. And has it worked? Are people staying home more? I believe so.
I agree with you. I see less car on the road and people are staying home. It's not a hassle to stay in line when you have no perks out there.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to go back to testing, and we've seen like you mentioned and like Chris has mentioned about the zero positives from public health. What I want to know is about the DLS, the commercial testing. When those results really start coming back, because like you said, it's 4 to 7 days, do you anticipate seeing some higher numbers of positives just from the DLS category?
Yeah, I think so. And so far, they are report positive coming back from them. The interesting part is that I talked to some physician is that this past weekend will be a test for us. We'll either see the rate go up or go down because the holiday, the mass Easter, and it will reflect until about a week to 10 days from now. So if people are going to get sick, it'll be a week to 10 days from now, they will come in. So next week you'll find out if we truly control this thing or not. If there's not a surge of people coming in, but from the there's still people going to be sick out there. So like I say, don't put your guard down. Masks everywhere, and wash your hand and minimize the going out to the public if you can.
Yeah, Doc, can I just ask you, are physicians still sticking with the Dr. Cabrera's analysis and the state surgeon Dr. Michael Cruz's hospital expansion efforts? Do you know if that's something that's still moving forward as we speak?
Well, Chris and Sabrina, we still have to moving forward with that. In medicine, we look for the worst and hope for the better, right? I mean, never hurt to prepare, never hurt to over-prepare, and, if it doesn't happen, then, Dr. Cabrera and Dr. Mike Cruz will be glad to be wrong. This is something that, as a physician, we are much, much happy to be wrong. So, like I say, it's a projection, the best I can do, but like I say, it doesn't happen, but like I say, that's the worst scenario, and we have to look for the worst scenario. A lot of people criticize the curve and it's overblown, but like I say, if you don't protect the public and don't prepare, then when the thing comes, it's going to be bad. So it's okay to prepare.
I think it's bad. I mean, we have over 500 positive cases on the Roosevelt. We're nearing 140 cases outside the fence line. We've had 5 deaths. I think it's pretty bad.
That's the case of the TR is that they tell you one thing. If when you're a group of people together in closed space, yes, you will have all this outbreak. So that's why it's very important to isolate and stay home.
Good point,
if you
Doc.
stay home, then you don't have the outbreak like the TR. But they don't have a choice. They're in a little tight quarter in the ship. That's why everyone needs to stay home and not barbecue with the next door neighbor.
Doc, I want to go back to this latest, the fifth fatality. Our condolences again, but there was something in the JIC release that I saw where this woman who had comorbidities was admitted to the hospital. Was it the day before she passed, Doc?
Yeah, she passed really quick. When she hit the front door, and she passed the next day. And again, the elderly have a very high mortality rate, and complication. That's why, before the Easter break, I say, stay away from your elderly loved one. Don't hug them. 10 feet away from them. But at this point, we just have to give our love a little bit differently to the elderly. Just we love them, we stay away from them so they won't get sick.
But Doc, just outside looking in, because obviously I'm not a doctor, but what do you make of this patient who checked in the day before? I mean, she was already very, very sick.
Well, she's sick already, and this, it's unpredictable. This thing can basically destroy your lung in a matter of minutes. You can be stable and then you just crash. And then you can be in the best hospital in California. It's going to happen. You're going to pass away. So she probably had a very bad infection, and either she waited a bit too long at home. But it's a lot of factor that, that caused her to pass away so quick within 24 hours in the hospital.
And that's why I wanted to ask you, do you have anything to say to these people who were, telling them to stay home isolate? At what point do they need to reach out to their doctor or their clinic, before it's too late?
Yeah, I want to tell patients, if you're coughing and you have a hard time talking to your relative, you can't finish a sentence, it's time to go in. That's the key. That you can talk to me in a full sentence, okay, but if you start and take say a few words, take a deep breath, or you can't breathe, it's not time to stay home. It's time to head to the emergency room.
Well, thanks for that, Doc.
Yeah, so that's the key.
I wanted to ask you, going back to the testing, we just saw on the CNMI governor's Facebook page that they got 20,000 test kits from South Korea. Did you see that?
Yeah, we have to be careful. I'm not sure what the situation CNMI is, but for us, in order for us to get in the test kits that federally funded, it had to be FDA approved. You cannot use in a test kit that's non-FDA approved. The first test kit to come in by one of the wholesalers was on the application, but it's not approved yet, so we turned that down. But the problem with those test kits that's not FDA approved is that they have some false negative, false positive that is really pretty high. So you can test them, but it's unreliable, and you cannot go with this data. Again, this is a blood test, a test for your antibody, and it's not a confirmation test like PCR does. So you have to be careful how you use those things.
But are you aware what kind of test kits they received? Considering that I thought they don't have the capability to run tests there. They go through Guam.
Well, some of those test kits, I think they receive a quick test.
Okay, so those would be the rapid.
Well, Doc, I think the obvious question is, how do they get it before us? And why didn't we get 10,000?
Chris, we can have it delivered here, but the problem, we can't use them.
I see.
Just like I say, it's not FDA approved.
Yeah, I got you.
And and you don't want the company to use them and send people back to work when they have a false negative, and then you infect everybody. So you have to be very carefully use those test kits and be monitored by public health, and not just anyone can buy them over the internet, which we can, but it's not
not responsible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a new Abbott PCR test that take 10-15 minutes. I know that FEMA sent one out to Guam. I'm not sure when it's arriving. It's only 8,000, 19,000 of those machines make. So they are some, kind of scarred to obtain. But I know that FEMA sent one out to Guam. It's not sure when it's going to arrive here, and that would change the game. And DOS is stepping up. They're going to do the test here locally, so you don't have to be sent to Hawaii anymore. GRMC has sent up that test, So once those things are standing up, we can do a whole lot more tests in the very, very near future. So just hold tight.
What about the ventilators? Have you been made aware? Because I think I saw in one of the FEMA updates that they were shipped out on April 11th, I believe. Have you heard whether or not they've arrived, the 30 ventilators that we were anticipating from FEMA?
Yeah, I'm not sure they arrived or not, but we have still went with very little people in ICU on the van, I believe. But it's not the number of vents that we have, guys. It's the nursing staff that run them. You can have all the vents in the world sit in front of you, but you only have a few nursing staff run them, and that's a different thing,
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So
because you have the 50-bed FEMA equipment that's coming in for their FMS, their field medical hospital or whatever it is, and I think the governor's plan was to have at least 2,000 excuse me bed capacity.
Yes. So those are the plan. But hopefully, we don't have to use them.
Right. But you said we have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could have all the supplies, like you said, in the world, but if we don't have the people, I mean, what do we do?
Well, I think we still got to get the supplies.
Well, yeah. And is there any effort on that, trying to get these nurses and more healthcare workers?
We entertain the idea of getting nursing staff from Taiwan and from other countries come in to help if they can, in case we need them, and that's just on the table. So everywhere you can pull, you're gonna pull. So we give nursing staff that is not qualified before the emergency license to do different stuff. So they're trying to do everything they can. Like I say, everything's in the planning stage for the worst. Hopefully, we don't have to use them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Doc. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you got a conference call coming up this morning, so I appreciate the little bit you gave us.
Wait, when's the next press conference where all the doctors go to Adelup and give their latest trajectory? When's the latest update?
Yeah, we have an advisable meeting tonight, and we discussed that. The biggest thing we discuss right now is what to do with our people here in Guam that will soon get laid off and lost their health insurance.
Yeah.
That's something that we have to put our head together tonight and try to figure out, because I tell you, they will run out of medication, and there's a non-COVID complication coming in, because it's going to take several months to a year or so for all those people to get up from where they are.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. I know last time we chatted, I wrote that up. It's a good story. I'm glad you guys are keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, so we will have to talk about it tonight now, and that's one of the new subjects we're going to talk about.
Okay, so then we'll get you on the phone tomorrow for a little catch-up.
Okay.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
There you go, from the American Medical Center. That's Dr. Hall Winton, 740.
Like I said, in the past, he led us with the Guam Medical Association efforts in the Philippines after the super typhoon that hit there a couple years ago, and he was the guy in charge. Him, Dr. Cruz, Dr. Felix Cabrera, Dr. Shane, Dr. Eusebio.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all just great. And so, I'm happy that they're part of the Physicians Advisory Group.
I'm happy that they're accessible and transparent. 741, we're going to take a little break. KUAM-FM, Hagåtña, Guam. It's containing COVID. The KUAM News Takeover, Guam's favorite, I-94.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's, offers fully covered loading and unloading area with individual pin-coded gate and door access. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD. healthy. Be informed with ITD.
We're working hard to keep you safe. Wash your hands. Stay home.
Howdy, this is Ryan Flowers from Crescent Fitness. This is a quick public service announcement. We want to remind everyone, please just stay home. Go kick back in your pajamas, like we're doing. Go spend time with your kids. Go do the things that maybe you've been kind of just forgetting for a while. Go get a workout in. But the big thing is, please stay at home. For the sake of your kids, your family, and your future generations, please stay home. Evan, what about you?
Stay your butt home.
Hoffaday, I'm Jonah Goncharfris, senior producer for KUAM News, and I'm sure you are probably tired of hearing it, but I'm going to say it one more time. I urge you to please, please stay home. To protect your parents, grandparents, manamko, loved ones, neighbors, hell, the entire island. Stay put, stay home. Make sure you wash your hands, practice social distancing. I know it's hard because we miss hanging out with family and friends, but the sooner we do our part, the quicker we'll get back to our regular routine. We will get through this. Thank you, stay safe, and stay home.
Hope you guys are doing good, as good as you can be. Day 28 of COVID-19 caused government-wide non-essential business shutdowns. Of course, they've extended the order. We're going all the way till May 5th. And, we understand it's difficult, and a lot of you guys want this to be over, but, we just ask, continue to hang in there. We're doing a lot of things on our social media to kind of help you come up with some ideas to pass the time. And also kind of want to remind you that no matter what is happening at the legislature, we got the power to kill the curve. I thought you might like that. 749. We're getting a lot of questions and comments about the SNAP benefits, so we wanted to bring Tess Archangel from Public Health on. Good morning, Tess.
Hi, good morning.
So first of all, we just had a question about the SNAP benefits and the emergency increase for those people who are already on the program. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, we applied for the emergency allotment for those who's currently under the program. That emergency allotment is actually based on the maximum allotment that they're going to get. So, like for example, because they're working, there's some deductions from the maximum allotment, so they don't get the full maximum allotment. With the emergency allotment, they're going to deduct what they have received already from the maximum allotment. An example is, let's say, for a household size of, let's say, one, if the maximum allotment there is roughly 200 some, and so if they only receive $50, they're going to get the difference. So if it's 200, they're going to get the 150.
Okay.
That's the maximum allotment is 200. So those who had received their maximum allotment will not get an additional.
Okay. And again, this is just for people that are currently participating in the program.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about people that now suddenly find themselves without a job, without any way to bring in an income, and now they want to apply? What do they need to do?
Oh,
just walk us through.
They just have to submit an application, sign that application, and provide all the documents required. They can go to our website. The list of documents required to bring are there. And so we're going to determine them if they're eligible based on their income.
Right.
And what if they don't have all of those documents because of social distancing and they're not able to go and get the paperwork that's necessary?
Depending on what documents they provided, caseworker will be able to determine that if they need to be expedited. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that if it's expedited, they're going to get the full benefit. If they don't submit later on, there is a maximum days where they can submit those. If they don't, then they will be terminated.
I see. And say I have all the documents, I go online, I apply for the benefits. I guess I speak with the caseworker. We go through whatever interview process is needed and is required and is completed. How soon would I be able to get the benefits?
Within 24 to 48 hours, if they got interviewed and all the documents are complete.
Mm-hmm. And how long? Okay, so I submit my application. What's the turnaround with talking with the caseworker and getting interviewed?
Depending on, let's say, if they submitted it in the morning, of course, because there's a lot of process that they have to do with those documents. Mm-hmm. They have to scan it, they distribute that to the caseworkers, and then if the documents are complete, the caseworker will call them.
I see.
The following day, they will call them the following day.
Okay. How many new applicants have you guys seen in the past, I guess, couple of months? Or not even months, I'm sorry, weeks, since the emergency declaration?
Since the emergency declaration? Let me have that. Hold on.
I'm just wondering if you guys seen a surge of new applicants.
Oh, I see. Hold on.
Right.
I have to get it from
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
because we know that, I don't know if it was the week before, the governor said that there were 300 new applicants since April 1st.
Right. That was in March. But it's not something that's higher in, we can say that it's a drastic increase as compared in February or January. But, hold on. Let me just see.
Hey, by the way, you guys just joining us. This is Tess Archangel from the Department of Public Health, SNAP benefits. Just kind of calling the shots on this. So I just wanted to get her on the line to provide that clarity.
So the new application that we received in March is 220 plus the reapplication, meaning they were once in the program and they were terminated. So roughly 584 is what we received in March. What we received in February is 723.
New
and reapplication, meaning reopen.
Okay.
In January, 774. Currently, within this April, up to, I guess, last week, it's 423.
In the past week? 423?
Or is that this from April 1st? Tess, just to
from April 1st to 10th. Yeah, we can say there's an increase. Yeah.
So how are we counting are these people who have got the paperwork, turned in a signed application? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have any of them already been approved for benefits out of the 423?
We have been submitting all the processed ones, but most of them have pending documents. That's the reason why. And so they call them. It doesn't mean that they were not interviewed. If there are pending documents, they call the client. All the documents that they do submit, they call the client, they review them, and if there are pending documents, they assist them.
Tess, which documents here are these people having a hard time getting? Because if it's a lot of them who are pending documents, I'm thinking maybe they're all trying to get the same type of documents. So which ones are the problem ones to get?
Oh, I cannot give. I can. We don't track that. We don't track what documents are pending.
So just basically, people are having a hard time getting these documents that are required to apply for assistance.
Some of them.
So what seems to be the main problem then in terms of trying to process all these applicants? If it's just a few, I thought you said a majority of them, the problem was that they were not able to get the required documents. What are the other issues? That,
I think what I think is the documents. The caseworker just needs to explain what those documents are and what they can do to replace those documents. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's got to be a big struggle. Is that everything's closed, and we've got these checkpoints out here, so people are doing their part. I think someone asked a question yesterday. What are we doing to make it easier for people to get these documents? And it's kind of troubling because you're saying that these documents, it's a lot of holdup.
I can ask the caseworkers what are mostly the documents that they are pending, but we don't track what those documents are. Like an example, if they are unemployed, we have a listing from Department of Labor of companies that laid off or with reduced hours. Our caseworkers contact them, so it's not an easy turnaround. So they still have to verify. So even though we have a list, we have to call, of course, or email the company, and then depends on their response.
Yeah, I'm looking at
We're
some
trying
of the...
to help the client.
Yeah.
And we have a list of those businesses. It's 400 some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Linda was mentioning during the press conference last week she was going to try to work with the mayors to try and help get whatever the applicants needed.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't have it, we call the mayor's office. The caseworker calls the employer to verify. But it's not, let's say they call today, they're going to receive it right away today.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, because they email them, and depending on the employer's response, we wait.
Yeah. How many caseworkers do you guys have?
Oh, roughly, probably 20.
So there's been an increase in the number of people you guys have helping these potential clients. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and besides, they work Saturday. They call them on Saturday, so they work in the evening to process those cases and call those clients and email the employers to get those information that they need.
Okay. All right. Well. Thank you. Anything else that people need to know when they call? You said you don't recommend that they call, or you're just recommending that they download the application. Is there a number aside from 311 that they can call and speak with somebody?
Oh, under that 311, we gave all the numbers. I think I sent our director sent the letter. All the numbers. I gave it to Chris.
Yeah.
I have it. I have it here.
People can call.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
they can call.
Okay.
And they respond. In fact, just one day we received 400 some calls.
Good job.
Including email.
I mean, that's not good because that means a lot of people out here need help. And
Yeah.
I apologize. We haven't touched on this issue in a few days. There's been so many things going on, but that's why we kind of wanted to get back to you.
Yeah.
Tess, I just got a call on our hotline, and a listener had said that the document that a lot of people are having a problem with is the verification of employment because the human resources departments and so many businesses on Guam have been shut down. So they try to call, no answer. I mean, who has their HR department's email? I mean, maybe we do, a small company, but I think for the most part, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but they gave us a listing. Department of Labor gave us a listing and the email. So we emailed them. Okay. So we wait for their response.
So then you guys are also doing that. Okay, I see.
Yeah, we're doing that, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we're going to post up all the documents they need onto our Facebook because people keep calling and asking about that. I know it's on the website, Tess, but sometimes it's good to get a real live person on the radio.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if they have any questions, they can call the numbers that we gave to you. Yeah.
Right.
So Tess,
okay, I think I have them. This is correct. 635-7488. That's for the Dededo. 635-7484. 7439, 635-7396, and 635-7429. That is for Northern Guam. Southern Guam, 828-7542, 828-7534, and 7524. For Central Guam, Castle Mall, the number is 735-7340, 7519, 7256 and 7375. We're going to post this in the comments here so everybody knows. In this same letter, it also has the required documents that you'll need when you apply.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Tess, thank you so much for your time. Is there any... Can you just address the people listening and watching who are trying to get these benefits?
Oh.
Maybe you just have something to tell them that they're to kind of boost their confidence a little bit.
Okay, we're trying our best to process all the applications. Our staff are working early morning up to 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the evening, and they're also working Saturdays. So they call the clients even Saturdays and evenings. So make sure your telephone, your contact number that you provided, that you are available when they call you, so that your application can be processed. We're doing our best to provide the benefits that's needed.
Well, we know you are, Tess. Thank you. Thank
Everybody
you so much.
says you're a hard worker, Tess.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to get you. Yeah.
And maybe we'll check in with you next week. But thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, you and your caseworkers that are trying to get the help to our people who really need that help.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it, Tess.
Take care.
Okay.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's a federal thing, so they got all these requirements for these documents that they can't wiggle and play and say, no, just give us this one in the meantime. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're all trying to meet these, parameters for applying for this assistance. And you see, people who've been in the government of Guam their entire career in the classified system. People who got their boots on the ground. They're working hard and they're taking it serious. I mean, she's working all day.
Saturdays too.
Yeah.
So
they know, and you know, even if we ask the governor, sometimes the answer is not what you guys want to hear, and so that's why I feel we got to go to the people who are right in the mix, doing the stuff to let you know that yes, they know you're hurting and they're trying to help.
And right now, as Tess mentioned, there's 423 new applicants, and this was just between April 1st and April 10th.
Yeah, so
that's only 9 days. And prior to that, in March, it was 220, I believe, new applicants. And some of those are reapplicants. So,
right. But reapplicants mean they were on the program before, and then for whatever reason they got off. Maybe they got a job or something, and so their information's already in there, and then they reapply.
Right.
That's according to the mayors we talked to.
Yeah. And the phone numbers again, you want me to go through those numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, the phone numbers for Northern Guam, 635-7488, 635-7484, 635-7439, 7396, and 7429. If you live in Southern Guam, the numbers for you to call, 828-7542, 7534, and 7524. For Central Guam, the numbers are 735-7340, 735-7519, 7256, and 7375. You can also go to dphss.guam.gov and you'll find the application there. It has the phone numbers that I just read off and also the list of documents that you're going to need to apply.
Okay. Hey, 804, thank you, and good morning to all of our viewers on KUAM TV 11. Of course, every weekday we throw the show up on KUAM TV 11 from 8 to 10, and we got a deep dive into the day's COVID-19 news coming up next, right here on Containing COVID. Good morning.
Get all the latest updates on your favorite KUAM TV 8 and TV 11 primetime shows. Catch it all during the
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's, offers fully covered loading and unloading area with individual pin-coded gate and door access. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD. Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Top of the day, everyone, and hello mga kababayan. Nestor Lecanto here from KUAM News. Just wanted to remind you all that we are in the midst of this battle together, this war against the coronavirus, COVID-19. And just wanted to remind you, one of the best things that we can do to fight this is to wash our hands. I saw something on TV, and you need to do this for at least 20 seconds. You can maybe sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat or Happy Birthday a couple of times, but make sure you get everything. Get the top of your palm, your hands, the bottom, your thumbs, in between your fingers, and you can even use just regular soap and water. But just wanted to remind you that we're all in this together. We're going to get through this. And finally, stay home. That's very, very important.
Great local artists. Man, shout out my late Party Savage K and the boys in First Issue. Legendary Chamorro Pride. Shout out to our listeners, viewers from the NMI. We got some NMI news coming up here, of course. Always Tomas Maglotnia has got his dory on the ground in Saipan, as well as Adriana Katera did a great package last night that we're going to be playing for you guys again coming up. But as we do in the 8 o'clock hour, good morning and thanks for joining us. We do a deep dive into the day's COVID-19 news from the KUAM News team. Sabrina Salas-Manzanotti, good morning.
Half a day, everybody. Here's the latest from the Joint Information Center released at 10 p.m. last night. The Department of Public Health and Social Services tested 33 individuals for COVID-19 on Monday with conclusive results. 0 tested positive through public health. 33 tested negative. There was, however, one additional case which was clinically diagnosed. Public Health's overall count also includes cases of COVID-19 that have been clinically diagnosed, confirmed positive cases tested by the Naval Health Research Center in San Diego, and confirmed positive cases through commercial lab DLS. To date, there are a total of 134 confirmed cases of COVID-19 on Guam, with 58 recoveries and 5 deaths. All 71 remaining cases are in isolation. Another COVID casualty to report on Guam. The Navy has announced the death of a sailor assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt. The sailor, who has not yet been identified until his family is notified, passed away on Monday due to COVID-related complications at Naval Hospital. It was on March 30th the sailor tested positive and was removed off the ship and placed in an isolation house on the Navy base with 4 other sailors. At about 8:30 in the morning on April 9th, the sailor was found unresponsive during a daily medical check. While Naval Base Guam emergency responders were notified, CPR was administered by fellow sailors and an on-site medical team in the house. The sailor was transferred to Naval Hospital, where the sailor was moved to ICU. As of today, 92% of the carrier's crew have been tested, with 585 testing positive for COVID-19 and 3,921 testing negative. 4,021 sailors have moved ashore. Senators are expected to vote today on a number of bills related to the coronavirus crisis, but what they won't be acting on is the governor's request for curfew authorization and sanctions for violators of her executive order restricting travel. She was seeking the added authority to help convince the public to stay home. Senators now apparently backing away from that plea. They did not debate a bill by Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes that imposes fines and possible imprisonment for violating an executive order. They also didn't entertain a bill by Senator Amanda Shelton authorizing a curfew for all. Here's more from session floor.
Colleagues, we are now on Bill 334-35 COR. At this time, I'll recognize Legislative Secretary Amanda Shelton. You are recognized.
Sidious Masi, Madam Speaker, I move to place 334 to the bottom of today's agenda.
On that motion, without any objection, there is a motion. Do you have an objection to that, Minority Leader?
Bill 334, Madam Speaker, this is, if they can read the title to this, please. Not sure.
I will go ahead and have the Legislative Secretary read the title.
Bill 334-35 COR is an act to amend Section 19404 of Article 4, Chapter 19, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to enforcement of rules promulgated in an executive order relative to a declared emergency to public health or safety.
Objection. Objection, Madam Speaker.
There is an objection. All those in favor of setting 334-35 COR to the bottom of the agenda signify by raising your hand.
Excuse me, Madam Speaker, I object to placing it on the floor. What do you mean, the bottom of the agenda?
Yeah, we moved to set it to the bottom of the agenda, Minority Leader.
I still object. I still object.
On the motion to place 334-35 COR to set it aside and put it at the bottom of the agenda, please signify by raising your hand. 334 at the bottom of the agenda. 1, 2, 3, 4. Senator Therese, to put it at the bottom of the agenda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Senator
Not enough.
Huh? 7. And Clint?
Still not enough.
Is it up?
Only 6. Only 7.
Are both hands up?
Nope.
Huh? On the motion again, so that the clerk can see the hands, please signify by raising your hand to set 334-35 COR aside. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
6.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Motion carries. Legislative Secretary, you are still...
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'd just like to explain for our body and the viewing public the reason why we put 334 to the bottom of the agenda today is because we are waiting for some legal clarifications to move forward on that bill.
Thank you very much. Legislative Secretary,
yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. For that same reason, I'd also like to move 335 to the bottom of the agenda.
On that motion to move 335-35 COR to the bottom of the agenda.
May I read the title, Madam Speaker?
Yes, you should.
Thank you. 335, an act to add a new item 7 and 8, section 19403 of Article 4, Chapter 19, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the emergency powers of the governor during a public health emergency.
On that motion, are there any objections? Hearing none or seeing none, motion carries.
Emergency session yesterday morning. By the afternoon, the governor, during her press conference, continued to press upon why she needed those bills.
So my request for enforcement power is just so that I can at least tie. So my request for enforcement power is just so that I can at least tie something to a penalty if you're not following the mandate, or if you're not adhering to the curfews. By the way, has not been passed, nor has my enforcement request been passed. But the enforcement, Kevin, just gives it much more teeth, I think, to people because they might say, oh, so I didn't really follow the governor's law, so what, right? I'm not penalized. I don't have consequences as a result of this. So what the enforcement power does, it just strengthens the mandate to stay home. And I gave the example of how people don't really follow speed limits. And when they do the speed traps, everybody the next day is going to follow the speed limit. But once the speed traps aren't there, they don't follow anymore. So that's just, I don't know, human behavior or human reaction. But this is a very serious situation. And I want to make sure that it's really impressed on our people's minds, and so that they can change their behavior. And like I said, travel only
9 o'clock in the morning. Developing news now out of the CNMI, where Governor Ralph Torres announced 20,000 test kits have arrived, with more on the way.
Good evening. A 50% cut in furlough action in order to reduce government personnel costs. In addition, a 25%
airport waiting for the test kits. We've been working on this test kits for about 3 weeks now, and we have about 20,000 on board. And as you see, it's here on the island. We'll be working on getting these test kits and hopefully start doing some testing in the next couple of days. I want to thank Esther Muña again, our CEO, and the task force, Warren Villagomez, who chairs the task force, Homeland Security, and I also want to thank GAR, Patrick Guerrero, for making this happen. For the great people of the Commonwealth, I want to thank you again for your patience, and we are working extremely hard to get everybody tested. Our goal since day one is to test everybody. It's going to take some time, but we're definitely moving in that direction. Again, our goal is to test everybody 100%, and that is our goal. Again, please stay home and continue social distancing and continue the proper hygiene. So with that, good night, everybody.
Again, that was CNMI Governor Ralph Torres making an announcement on the CNMI Governor's Facebook page that 20,000 test kits arrived, with more on the way. His goal, as he said, is to get everybody in the CNMI tested. Back to news here on Guam. For safety reasons, the Archdiocese of Agana has decided to reduce hours and curtail its feeding of the homeless program at its Ministry of the Homeless Soup Kitchen starting this week. Growing non-compliance of safety measures by some soup kitchen clients and a recent incident of drunkenness and fighting in which a knife was drawn has prompted the decision. Feeding of daily hot meals to the homeless has been suspended. Instead, Ministry to the Homeless will distribute Balutan to-go bags filled with a 2-day supply of non-perishable food to each client 3 days a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 5 to 5:30 p.m. during this COVID-19 pandemic. In national news, the death toll from coronavirus is now more than 22,000 nationwide, up to 4,000 since Friday. New York's governor says the death toll in his state has climbed above 10,000 today, and even as the rate of hospitalizations continue to fall, Elise Preston reports from New York City, the nation's coronavirus epicenter.
Almost everybody is on oxygen.
New York City now has more than 100,000 reported cases of COVID-19, but the number of actual cases is likely much higher. The New York City Health Department is reporting a serious shortage of swabs used to test for coronavirus and is advising medical providers to only use them on hospitalized patients.
The testing has been in a dynamic of scarcity from day one. If the President of the United States or anyone else wants a recovery, and we all want it, right? But if you're serious about it, you can't do it without widespread testing.
To help offset the lack of protective gear for medical workers nationwide, the FDA has issued an emergency use authorization outlining how hospitals can sterilize N95 masks so they can be reused.
A new Monmouth University poll shows half of Americans fear someone in their family could become seriously ill. The poll shows the concern has grown in the last few weeks.
A tally from the Associated Press finds there's been an alarming rise in nursing home deaths, from 450 just 10 days ago to more than 2,600. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
From the Bank of Guam, effective April 15th, the Bank of Guam's Tumon branch drive-through window will be open 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, and closed on Saturday. Bank of Guam Sagatnya and Anderson Air Force Base branches remain open from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday only, and all other Guam branches remain closed. Transactions at the Tumon drive-through are limited to check cashing, deposits, and withdrawals, Bank of Guam loan, and credit card payments. Utility check payments may be dropped at the express deposit box. And finally, IT&E announcing today that their Stay Home Challenge will continue until April 30th. Residents of Guam and the CNMI now have more time to enter the win one of 3 new Samsung Galaxy phones with 1 year of free unlimited 4G LTE data, talk, and text in the IT&E Stay Home Challenge. Plus, each winner will also receive a free phone case. Now, here's what you need to do to win. You need to follow ITE Guam or ITE CNMI on Instagram, like the Instagram posts announcing the contest, then share the contest announcement to your Instagram story. Upload either a photo or video, no longer than 1 minute, to your Instagram feed that shows how you are passing the time while you are social distancing by staying at home. Entrants must tag ITE and use ITE Stay Home Challenge in the caption.
Well, there you go. That's a deep dive into the day's COVID-19 related news right here on Containing COVID. Thank you again. There's just so many ways to catch the show. First, 93.9 FM. Thank you to Guam's favorite 994 for giving us hopefully a temporary home here on the radio. Also,
I like that, temporary.
Streaming live on the KUAM news app and KUAM.com. Of course, the Facebook live stream, which is why we got to dress nice, at least from the waist up.
Mm-hmm.
That's KUAM News Facebook. And we're on TV 11, KUAM TV 11. We bring the second half of the show to you on the TV side. And then there's an audio stream on Docomo Channel 10. So there's just so many ways. We got you surrounded. Real information, real time. We're going to take a break and come back with more info.
That's what we do.
That's kind of what it is, what we do here. 828. Good morning, Guam.
Join
GU Self Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Be healthy. Be informed with ITD. Be healthy. Be informed with ITD.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity
Containing COVID, KUM News Takeover. Hey, just want to thank Tess Archangel for giving us her time this morning. We got a lot of info at that. It's on our feed. We're going to put out the info for you guys in a nice little thingamajig that you can easily reference.
And get all the information there. You can also visit their website at dphss.guam.gov. It gives you what you need, the paperwork that need to be submitted,
right.
And also the phone numbers to give them a call at the different community health centers.
Right, and I kind of wanted to switch gears a little bit here, and this is a story that came to us out of the Dededo Neighborhood Watch program, and this is a reality, and it's one of the issues that because there's just so much going on with this COVID-19 crisis, from the testing and the results and the public assistance angle, and something that we haven't really talked about a lot is the crime. And I'm just going to read you a little bit of this Facebook post, and then we're going to bring the woman on the line. Around 1:45 this morning, 5 guys were caught trying to break into the cars on our apartment property. This lady's husband ran out and told them to leave. They were just standing there, not leaving. They got aggravated because they were called out and caught trying to break into the cars, so they chased after us, and then they bashed our windows and tried to break the door down. They even bashed my rear window of my car. These people have nothing better to do. I was always told, call the police, but these guys were yelling, I'm going to kill you. I felt like a deer in the headlights. I froze. I really thought they were going to kill us. This is now a life and death situation. I don't have any weapons, only kitchen knives. I realize I really want to own a gun now. I used to be against it, but now I feel in times like this, a gun is necessary. You never know how your body and mind will react when you're faced in a situation like this. It's literally fight or flight response. Now that I'm calmed down, I wish I could have done more. So let's bring, ma'am. First of all, that's just terrible. Good morning.
Morning.
Did you call the police when this happened?
Yes, I did. The only thing I wish I should have done is I highly recommend everyone keep the precinct's number on speed dial. Don't call 911 because it's just throughout that whole panic, they're just asking a bunch of questions. I know it's protocol, but just call the precinct directly.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I honestly felt like, because I was still on the phone giving directions when all that was happening. So I really just froze. Like, I really felt like if the police weren't here on time, I probably would have been killed.
Mm-hmm.
It was really scary. Like, you really don't know how you're going to react until it's actually happening to you.
Mm-hmm. And this was Easter Sunday?
Yes, Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday. Oh. Do you have children?
I have a teenager. I have a 16-year-old with us, and he froze too.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that? Like, we both froze. Like,
Well,
my other half was the only one that reacted, which was like, he really saved us. If it wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, did they steal anything? Did
they were trying to steal from our cars. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to steal a truck. That was their intention. They came here to steal the truck that they stole last week.
Wait, they stole something. They were there last week?
Can you just back up, because this sounds like this is this got some history behind it.
Yeah, if you go on Post Guam, it's posted there. So
Okay.
what actually happened was the 5 individuals came back. They came here on April 9th to steal a truck, and they successfully did it. But it was located because it was abandoned behind McDonald's Harmon. And then they came back Sunday night to steal it again. And the thing is, my other half had this feeling to look outside. And when he looked outside, he saw the 5 individuals outside. And I guess when all that happened, his initial reaction was, hey, get off our property.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of aggravated them. They're, at first they left, they walked away. So my initial reaction was, hey, wake up my neighbors to let them know, like, hey, check your trucks or check your cars in case anything was stolen. And then all you can hear is, get back in the house. And you just see them just running after him. And then we all ran into the house. And it just happened so fast, like 5 minutes. Like within those 5 minutes, you don't even think, grab a weapon, grab this, you know, like, because it's all just happening so fast. You know, 5 people just trying to kill your family, and that's all they're screaming. They want to kill us.
What time was this?
This happened around like 1:45, between 2 a.m. Like I don't even remember. The only reason I remember is because I saw the timestamp of the phone call when I called the police.
How long did it take for the police to arrive?
You know, if it weren't for the you know, the camera that when I was banging on the window, my neighbor, when he heard me banging, he called the police right away. But he had the precinct's number on speed dial. I was still on the phone with 911 when they were calling. When it was all happening. Yeah. So.
And do you know who these guys are? You said that they've been around. They just hang around the neighborhood, or?
They walk around, I believe. See, it's my first time seeing them. My other neighbors said that they just like to walk around. I'm not sure where they're coming from, but they like to just walk around the Harmon Strip, you know, like from the mall
Oh, no,
area.
we see them all the time. They walk around all the time, and it's up to no good walking around, not 6 feet apart and looking for trouble.
Exactly.
Are they teenagers or youth, or they're grown adults?
They're like grown adults. Some of them look young. Like I could probably say they're in the age range is like maybe 16 to like 25, somewhere around that.
Yeah. And so were they throwing rocks at the vehicles? What did they smash them with?
Well, they were actually they weren't armed or anything, but when they got closer to our house, they grabbed the boulders that were near our in my garage. They grabbed rocks that were just right outside our house, and they used that against us. There was a hollow block. There's a stack of hollow blocks right outside. They used it to bash our window too. Like they literally just grabbed weapons they could find like 5 feet from our own home, like outside.
This is frustrating. What are your thoughts on the Guam Police Department, the police presence, and patrols? Because they came out and they said, hey, we got to put a lot of the onus on the neighborhood watch groups. So what's happening is essentially all the neighborhood watch groups have been deputized. But you're not a police officer. So why are you guys being told to be the first responders? Where's the patrols? I mean, it's 1, 2 in the morning, 5, 6 dudes walking around looking for trouble. They should stick out, especially in a village like Dededo.
Exactly. But at the same time, we have no control over that. There is really little staff, the GPD staff. Very little.
So in the meantime, these 5 guys are still out roaming the streets.
Well, 2 of them got arrested.
Okay.
The other 3, we are not sure where those 3 are, and I've been following up with GPD every day. So
how's the response been?
They're very informative. Like they've been very, very helpful. To be honest, I was a little hesitant to trust them because I always read on social media all the bad things about them, but they've been very helpful to me, very informative. But at the same time, it's like they're kind of I guess it's kind of on their part. It's helpless because there's not enough of them, because they're dealing with so many cases at the same time. I mean, that's not an excuse too. I'm not giving them an excuse, but it's just
it's a reality.
A reality, yeah. Exactly.
So are you afraid if they've only arrested 2 of these 5 guys, have they come back and they cause trouble? Because obviously they don't fear the authority. They don't fear being arrested. They don't fear, your other half with the kitchen knives. They just have no fear. They have no, the consequences don't. I mean, maybe they want to go to jail. I don't know. But have they come back? Have they continued anything? Has there been any retaliation?
That's what we were worried about last night. So everyone in the area here, our complex, the tenants, they're kind of grouped together, and we're all watching at night. There's always somebody posted outside, and we had to actually think of a plan. Like someone's posted outside, and then they have their car alarm. If we hear that car alarm, we get up all together with our weapons.
And then what do you do with the damage? I mean, a lot of insurance places are closed.
I know.
So what do you do? Trash bag up the car or something?
Yeah, I have no choice. I have to trash bag that car, clean up whatever I have left. I just made sure I took a lot of pictures. And then, yeah.
Will you able to get your window fixed?
There. I have to fix it after the lockdown, so it's just sitting in the garage with a hole. I don't know what else to do. Like I'm honestly, I'm still shaken up. This has been day one. I can't eat, I can't sleep, and it's just I'm constantly paranoid. I'm looking outside to make sure I don't see anybody, or to make sure that no one's on the property again. Like I really don't know how we're gonna recover from this, because this is really scary.
I mean,
this
not
could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I mean, Lord, we're dealing with COVID-19, and then on top of this, I can't even. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I can't. See, it's overwhelming.
It is, and then what's crazy is you can't even see their faces because they were all wearing surgical masks.
So they were complying. They were complying with the governor's order.
Oh. Yes, they were, and
That's
you
good.
can't see their faces, so it was so difficult to identify. So, luckily, I remembered their clothing, which helped.
Okay, what were they wearing?
Were they 6 feet apart though when they were attacking you guys, breaking everything with rocks?
3 of them were, but the 2 that weren't got caught.
So where are the penalties? You know, I mean, God, maybe if we told the governor that they were attacking you and they weren't following her order, there would be a quicker response.
Well, so what were they wearing?
Well, I remember one of them was shirtless with shorts, and then one of them, the one that got caught, the main one was, I specifically remember a black shirt with colorful print. And that was how we ID'd him, because it matched the camera description as well as my description.
And what about the mayor? I know this is something that the mayor, what has her response been?
Well, I really haven't spoken to anyone, because after this, we just kind of just stayed in the house. We didn't really want to talk to as much people.
Yeah.
We're still trying to recover, you know?
Is the chat blowing up though? Because I see there's a Dededo neighborhood watch. Is it a chat or just a Facebook group?
I think it's a Facebook group, yeah. My post got added to a bunch of Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Honestly, the public, a lot of them are reaching out to me, and it was really nice. And, you know...
What are they saying?
No, they've been just, very supportive, letting me know, things will get better, and, just keep my chin up. I mean, it's really nice hearing that. There's just, I don't know, mentally I'm still trying to figure this out on my own too. I even think I'm gonna have to even seek professional help, because this is pretty traumatizing.
Has anyone from the the attorney generals, the victims, they even working?
No, but I honestly do want to bring up this issue to the senators and the AG, because I really want them to be prosecuted to the fullest, because this is dangerous. These guys don't care. They don't care. If they were there to originally burglarize and then suddenly to change their plans to try to kill you, they really don't care. These guys have nothing to lose.
I mean, they should throw the book at these guys. With committing this type of crime in a public health emergency, I'm pretty sure they could find a way to get creative.
Exactly.
So what would your message there? So that is your message then, prosecute these guys to the fullest. Because, we know the AG, the senators, the Gov, the Joint Information Center, they all listen to the show. So we're going to give you the floor here.
Okay, my message is, please don't just take this case and just push it to the side like it's nothing. This is something we really have to do, because, there are people out there that really don't care about our own lives, and they don't even care about their lives. And if they're roaming the streets like this, it's going to happen again. And then what if a person is alone and they actually go out in and try to kill you? That's really scary. And this is 5 of them, 5 versus 1. It's very dangerous. This is something we really, really need to take seriously. And also to the public, I highly recommend, go through your yard, get rid of any junk you have there, because they can use those weapons against you. Keep the closest precinct number on speed dial, and have, I know it's so sad that we have to do this, but have a weapon ready. Set up a little table with all your weapons ready to grab, because you never know this can happen to you. Because this happened on a normal night, Easter Sunday. We were all just relaxing.
Yeah. What that kind of, oh boy, to engage these guys, the police department, of course, they never encourage that. They always tell you, stay in the house. But this is a situation that was beyond your control. So
yeah.
What kind of weapons you got there by the door now?
Well, we just have pepper spray and batons. Our landlord, she was nice enough to get us the baton and pepper spray. She's like, here, use this for your safety. So Thank you, Ellen, for that. Appreciate it.
You don't want to be getting too close, you know. I mean, it's a little late now. I don't know if you could get the pellet gun out there at the store, but man, with these kind of guys, you just get one of those pellet guns and just shoot them in the face.
Yeah, I know. Everyone always
teach them a lesson.
People suggest that, but the thing is, that might not work.
Well, if you shoot them in the face enough times, they're going to turn and run.
Yeah. Maybe.
Lucky this isn't the Philippines. I think Duterte was onto something. When I hear a story like this, shoot to kill, people I mean, we talk about GPD all the time, the curfew.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing your story, and wanted to get you on because I think it's important that we remind everybody, especially in these areas up in the north, you know, people stay close together. There's a lot of people wandering around. I just see guys walking around now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you guys got to be vigilant on top of, you know, making sure we don't catch COVID-19 and, you know, on top of trying to get the assistance you need, on top of, you know, trying to eat for the day. Please watch your surroundings. Situational awareness. I tell all my kids, anywhere you go, you assess the situation around you and you recognize potential threats at all times, anywhere you go. And I mean, you shouldn't have to be doing that at 1 a.m. at your own house, though. But
on Easter Sunday, especially,
yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Yeah. But we certainly thank you for sharing your story, and please be safe.
Okay, you too, all of you.
God bless you.
Okay, you too. Thank you so much.
Wash your hands, okay?
Of course.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. And for those of you, I know that we were talking, she was mentioning about, or you talked about the neighborhood watch programs. Mm-hmm. That is something that the police department has recommended, that if you're not on your neighborhood watch program, chat, especially, contact your village mayor's office and get added onto that WhatsApp conversation or chat that most villages have. And, you know, once something happens, get on the chat and everybody is alerted and watching out for one another. And I know that the person we spoke with said that, you know, she doesn't call 911. She has her precinct on speed dial. If you can, you should probably do the same thing. But again, we're all in this together. And if if possible, please get onto your neighborhood watch WhatsApp chat group. That is recommended by the police department, who are out there also, you know, trying to control these juveniles, these knuckleheads that are out there on the street.
Ooh,
and we see the magistrates' complaints. They're still being filed. There's home invasions. There's people being busted for drugs. So crime is still happening. And so in order for us to fight crime, we need to do it together. So please join your neighborhood watch program chat.
There you go, 852. Containing COVID. Yeah, you guys are lucky I'm staying home. Ooh. Let's switch gears a little bit here, and I want to get my friend Maria Pangilinan onto the show to talk about. There was supposed to be an election this Saturday. Good morning, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Good day, Chris Barnett and Sarah.
I like the ring about that. Sarah Solis Metanani.
Sabrina Solis.
I could be Sarah if you want.
Who the hell is Sarah? Well, Miss Maria,
Sorry.
let's just rewind. Okay. How was your Easter?
Very good, thank you. We were able to have a Zoom party with most of the family. Some of them were already asleep by the time we started.
Oh, that's good.
This is Zoom with family off island and family here in Guam.
That's correct.
That's cute.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess on to official business now. So there was supposed to be a special election to fill the vacancy at the Jotnia Mayor's office for the Jotnia Mayor. What can you tell us about the status of that election, which was supposed to be this Saturday?
Well, the commission met, and they...
I'm sorry, are you still there?
Hold on, Miss Maria. Can you just back up? Because I know you stay in the dead spot, so wherever you went a second ago, don't go there again.
Okay, so I'm staying still. The commission met and recommended by way of a resolution to the governor that the Jotnia special election for mayor be postponed until Saturday, May 30th.
Have you guys got a response from the governor yet?
No, that just happened late last week, so we're waiting patiently for the for the response.
Right. So, Ms. Maria, let me ask you, at this time, since you have not heard back from the governor, are you still moving forward with plans to hold this election? Or, for all intents and purposes, are you guys kind of banking on that she's going to, make this happen and postpone it?
We're thinking that she would postpone it, and we're anxiously waiting for her response. In the meantime, I've talked to all 7 candidates and alerted them of what was going on.
Okay.
And then what about other elections? Because, there's a delegate election this year, the senatorial election, mayoral election. Where are we on that? And
there's also some deadlines, I think,
right,
usually for financial reports, isn't it,
yes,
in April?
Yes. So the deadline for personal financial disclosure for all public officials is April 22nd. But there's an easy fix for that, and all the public official has to do is email us and request for an extension. The law allows for an extension of 180 days.
That's usually October?
Yes. Sabrina, I think October 19th, maybe. I'm not so sure at this time. I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay, well, just for the elections that are coming up then, are you having to push back any deadlines or...
Well, not the deadline, but more so the first day to file.
Right.
The first day for candidate filing was scheduled for April 21st. The commission has moved it now to May 6th. But they do have until June 30th to file.
Okay. Was June 30th the original deadline?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so people who are looking to run for public office, you still have some time.
I don't know who's thinking about that, Miss Maria. Who are people still thinking about running for office?
I've been fielding calls. Excuse me, fielding calls and fielding calls also about nominating petitions. And so some of them seem like they finished collecting the number they want, and others are still in the process. At this time, there are no changes to the requirements of the candidate filing packet. We're going to try to help them out, the potential candidates, and find out if the offices where they have to obtain clearances are how they can obtain the clearances, or if they can at all during this time.
How many signatures do you need for this petition? What's the requirement? Because people probably can't go out and get those signatures.
So, and Sabrina, I think most of them, especially the seasoned ones, probably are, from our experience, are close to finish already if they're not finished. But for the delegate, they need 500. For the senators, they need 250. And for most of the mayors and vice mayors, they need 100. But if they don't have that many registered voters, there are different requirements for the different smaller villages.
Ms. Maria, what about the federal? So I know you said delegate there. Is there a federal deadline for them to file? And do you know anything about, has that been moved?
No, they just follow with regard to the election and qualifying to be on the primary election ballot. They follow our timeline. So they would just whoever wants to run for congressional delegate for Guam, they would just have to file between May 6th and June 30th.
Okay.
Has there been any discussions with the legislature to change some of the requirements to file for candidacy, such as the 500 signatures that are required for a petition, things like that?
Well, yeah, Senator Joe St. Augustine, our oversight, has called, and we've had conversations about what would go on with the election. So, there is a bill that was introduced by Senator Kelly Marsh Titan, and I can't talk about it very much because I haven't even talked to Senator Joe St. Augustine about that bill.
So it has been introduced?
It has been introduced, and I got word of it through another source because they were requesting our input into it, but I haven't heard from the legislature or communicated with the legislature about that specific bill.
Okay. And it is what to do in this COVID world?
I think so. I'm trying to pull it up now, but yes, it was introduced by Senator Kelly Marsh.
What's the title of it? What bill number, do you know?
Ooh.
I'm trying to
Gosh,
find it.
Chris, I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it may be 330.
330.
Let me try to pull it up.
Oh, we got Bree over here too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay.
Permitting absentee voting in the event of an imminent or urgent threat resulting from a public health crisis or disease outbreak. Bill 330, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, that too, Senator Joe St. Augustine and I discussed over the phone, but letting him know, okay, these are the if that's the will of the people, we'll work with it. Other parts of the law must change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like it's mainly just on how people can vote, but not necessarily, like laxing up on the requirements for people that would want to run.
Yes.
So that doesn't necessarily address that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I know some states have taken the requirement off. The nominating petitions.
Right. Because as you said, it's the seasoned politicians that would, they've already got a majority of their signatures and are ready to go and ready to file. But for people that may not really care for some of these seasoned politicians and may want to see some new faces, some new people that might want to run, they won't necessarily be able to meet those requirements.
I like how you slipped that in there.
But Sabrina, it's when this is lifted, it may not be difficult for potential candidates to get them as well.
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was this effort to introduce legislation to just, let's keep all, or maybe not even legislation to change any of the requirements and just keep it status quo so that it's difficult for people that may want to run.
I could totally see where Sabrina's going with this because this legislature has shown an inclination to just do some really weird self-preserve. And so, yeah, I could see that, Bree. I could see them doing we can't have an election because you guys are going to be all at risk. So guess what? We're going to stay in office for another 2 years.
Well, that's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah, I know, Miss Maria.
But Matanani or Sarah Matanani. is there a real Sarah Matanani out there?
You got a sister, Bree?
Oh my gosh.
How's your sister? All right, Miss Maria.
Well, thanks, Maria.
Yeah.
Hagumas.
Thank you for keeping still for 5 minutes.
If you see any other bills, though, let us know.
Yeah, give us a heads up.
We will.
Okay. Appreciate it. Miss Maria Pagalina of the Guam Election Commission.
If you plan on running, you still have time. May 6th is the new filing. You can start picking up packets to file your candidacy. And then the deadline, I believe she said, was June 6th. I think that's right. Yep. May 6th is when you can start picking up packets, and Tuesday, June 30th is the new deadline to file. And this year is an election for senatorial, congressional, mayoral.
Yeah, big one.
AG also on this list?
No.
No Attorney General? Okay.
Let's go to the phones. We had, I think, Tony on the line. We want to talk about the situation we had with the 5 people trying to break in and kill somebody. Tony, good morning.
Yeah.
Hi, Tony.
I'm deeply concerned about the woman victimized of triggering their
Tony, do you got us on speakerphone?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, please pick it up.
Hello?
That's, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear
we
you.
can hear you. Go ahead. You're concerned.
I think we need more law enforcers out there to help the police officers. I'm suggesting to put out the deputy marshal.
Yeah, Tony, do you got the radio on or something?
Huh?
Is your radio on or your Facebook Live? Because we're getting an echo. I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh, you're getting an echo? Okay, let me step
there.
Yeah, you got to turn everything down. I know you like to hear our voices really loud. I do too.
Okay.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on the air, Bree.
Oh.
Yeah.
My suggestion is to put out the deputy marshals out there too, to police the streets day and night. But I believe that the deputy marshals are...
Okay, Tony, it's not working. Yeah.
You know, and I think that they do. You know, this was a question that was asked by one of the reporters at one of the briefings about crime, and it was mentioned that they are pooling the resources of other law enforcement agencies to help patrol the streets, airport police, marshals over at the Superior Court, I think port police, different law enforcement officers. They're all coming together and they're out there helping to control and keep the peace on our streets. So it's not just GPD, but obviously when you see situations like what just happened to this family in Dededo, you know, it's cause for concern, and it's alarming because, you know, we're not only dealing with containing COVID, there's these whole other effects that are occurring, and crime
Ripple
is
effects.
ripple effects, and crime is one of them.
You know, former Speaker Judy Wampat, I don't know what the connection is with the victim of this. I don't know if they are part of the Guan Academy Charter School of Family, but former Speaker Wampat's the one that sent me these pictures and stuff, and she had said that this is something that we can mobilize the National Guard to do, is to do these patrols. Like you said, they're trying to fold all these different law enforcement components together for this COVID-19 response. So obviously there needs to be some kind of rethinking about how the presence is being maintained out there in the streets, because, you know, for the most part, we have the power, we understand what we got to do, but there's just always that small segment of the community that's going to continue smoking crack, continue throwing rocks and wandering around drunk in the middle of the night. I mean, it is what it is.
Breaking into
Right,
people's
yeah.
homes when they're home.
Yes. And this is, we're sitting targets. Literally, we're sitting at home targets for these people.
And we need to band together. You know, I live where I live. It's family, and, you know, we're all watching out for one another. And that's really what we need to do, is watch
Right.
out for one another. As I mentioned earlier, and Paul Tapau has stressed it more times than not.
Right.
Every time he's on the radio, he talks about you need to be a part of your neighborhood watch program. And you see it on Facebook. There's so many people. That's how that's how I saw it, was they posted it on the Dededo neighborhood watch program.
Right, yeah. And I think Speaker Wampat has sent that to me because she heads the VARO, Victim Advocates Reaching Out. Okay. So, I mean, it is what it is. We can sit here and say, oh my God, there's not enough police presence, but we got to do our part, and we all got to step up. So many of you guys have, and thank you to all the neighborhood watch groups. But
step up by staying home. Step up by looking out for your neighbor.
Right. But don't go engage 5, crazy wild guys who are going to throw hollow blocks at your head. I mean, you got to protect yourself and your family, whether that means shoot to kill if you have the, means.
Yeah. I'm that crazy person too. I have like a knife. I have a
Bree, let me tell you a little something about my co-host Sabrina.
Ready to go.
Sabrina has a ninja star by the shelf by the door. She got a baseball bat, hidden behind the houseplant. She probably has like a 45 tucked under the rug. Yeah, you do. No. Yep, she got a shotgun that's under the bench by the aloe vera.
Hey, I'm FBI trained.
She is. She's FBI trained. So. 909. Let's get
been through GPD.
Watch
That's right.
after we get off, Bree's gonna be like, how come you told everyone where the shotgun is? Let's get Major Tom from the Salvation Army on. Good morning, Major Tom.
Good morning, Chris.
So first of all, I just want to rewind. I know that I touched base with you on Easter. How was you guys' Easter on a personal level? You and the wife?
It was good. We have reached out to all our church members and our staff to wish them a happy Easter and Good Friday and what it means for us, and try to find that glimmer of hope amongst all this, that there is a ray of hope that God still loves us, and that His grace and mercy exists for us.
Okay, and
needed that.
Yeah, the ray of hope that I see on your end is that the donations. You guys have got some pretty big donations since the start of this COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah, we've been blessed to have the community respond the way we have, to be able to have the donations from Quality and different things, and that food's pretty much being going through pretty quick. And of course, the financial contributions as well as in-kind donations have been pouring in, and it's really great because now obviously 3 weeks have passed since last I talked to you, and we're no longer the only ones doing food now. There's a lot of good agencies and CSS and a lot of different great partners that are stepping up and doing food, and TDOE as well. So it's great to see that a lot of these resources are being spread out.
You know, there was a meeting, I understand, that you had with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Can you tell us about that discussion?
Well, we were, because we are linked with our Homeland Security, we were invited to be part of basically a phone conversation, a conference call with FEMA, the district that we're part of, kind of spans Hawaiian Islands and California, including Guam, and so there was a lot of people on that conversation. So we didn't really get to ask any specific questions, but basically it was FEMA kind of giving us the idea about a lot of the stimulus that is coming out for businesses to look into for loans and that kind of thing. And after all that, there was talk about, setting up requests for food, requests through our home. You've been going through our Homeland Security basically as our way into the door for those resources. And so that's really what we got out of that, and trying to piece together with our local contacts through the Homeland Security how we can make those requests of food, commodities, or whatever it is that they're able to offer us that we could appeal for.
What about the demand? When we talked, you guys, the demand was so great that you're doing appointments and you're trying to meet the needs of all these people while still protecting, the clients and your staff with social distancing. So just real quick, how has the demand been? Do you have any numbers on that?
Well, the demand has not decreased, and this week alone we've seen over, I think it was almost 300 some individual people assisted through, like over 60 plus families that we've seen in between last week and the beginning of this week. Obviously, last week being a shorter week and all, that we're seeing the numbers haven't decreased, but what we're seeing is people getting a little frustrated of people calling in, but and not being able to get through and get an appointment right away. But we are very short-staffed in between, taking the calls and getting back with people, and then actually filling the food bags and then distributing them. I mean, so there's a lot of different components to this, and so we're trying to do the best we can to minimize, people's frustration. But
Right.
we are still doing the appointment-based approach, because that way there's no lines waiting for the food. They come out of their car, they get it and go. So we're seeing average about 20 families a day, 20 people, coming for food a day. So at this point in time, that system seems to be working, but it does build some frustration on some clients' parts that are not getting right away. But we're trying to do the best we can. But I think to keep everybody safe, that's the best approach at this point.
Major Tom, when these people call, can you just give us some examples? I mean, not specifics, of course, because we want to protect their privacy, but what are they saying to you guys?
Well, the majority, like I said, over half of the people that we're seeing on a daily basis, if it's 20, so we say 10 to 12 of those people are new to the Salvation Army, which shows us, again, that these are new families that are affected by either loss of hours or they've been furloughed, that, now they are due to, it's impacting them now in a financial way, that they need food to get them through a couple days. And that's really what our food bag is designed to do, is to get them through, a few days worth of food. I mean, and so that's what a lot of people are still saying. They're just because of the loss of hours or job itself right now at this point. So as long as we continue to see new families coming, that shows us that we're still getting through, that we are assisting our priority folks of making sure that our working families that aren't able to work right now are being assisted, and we are still also providing food on a weekly basis to the Nursing Command Center. This is canned food and water, bottled water, and those kind of things. That food is being prepared and then distributed to the nursing staff on the front line. So we're doing two different feedings, two different approaches right now.
How many people total are you guys feeding? You said you had the 20 a day, and then with the nurses, how many total?
Well, the Nursing Command Center, we do one drop a week, and we supply enough food to get them through the week as best we can. They're preparing the meals, so we give them a variety of things that they can make a menu out of and distribute out to the nurses. But that's a pretty big drop that we send over to UOG for them. So we're seeing between, like I said, about 20 individuals a day on top of the nurses, which is they say there's about 120 plus nurses that are being fed from those meals. So that's great for us because we want to make sure they're doing good.
Do you have any idea about children? Like how many children are
So you're saying that these people calling and picking up stuff, they're pretty much representing families, right, Major Tom?
Yes, correct. Yeah, and being that their kids are out of school and they're not necessarily there for the lunch, for their normally they would be in school having lunch. So those are people are feeling that effect right now, and I think also too because it's the beginning of the month, some of our clients, they receive their SNAP benefits, so a lot of them are out shopping and getting what they need. So, which means that some of the working families that don't have SNAPs are probably those numbers might go up.
Right. So maybe that's who you're seeing that who is filling that gap of people who can go and get the groceries and stuff. Maybe it's being filled up, but like you said, people who've had their hours cut.
Yeah, and that's really what our priority is. We're not trying to push anyone else aside. Of course, we want to assist anybody we can, but our priority is to make sure those working families are taken care of, because normally, Chris, those are the ones that are donating to us. Those are the ones that the working families of Guam are the ones that help support the Salvation Army the most in the Red Kettle or through Christmas, or they're the ones helping us out with fundraisers or they're bringing off food. So we want to make sure that we can give back to them, because because in those circumstances of their own, they're in this situation.
Right.
So we're trying to prioritize, those working families.
It's tough because there are people who've applied for the public assistance that the governor's directing them to do, but they're just waiting for it to kick in, or they don't have the documents. Meanwhile, they've been out of work for weeks. There's no local assistance. We're waiting on the Uncle Sam to come and give us money. So I know of a family who every day, it's so sad, they go and they get their grab and go meals from DOE, and then they go and they try and get something from CSS, or they go and they try and get something from Salvation Army. So their families are waking up on our island every day that they don't know how they're going to eat.
Right. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And I really want to give praise to GDOE for stepping up with the grab and go meals. That's because for some families, I mean, our food bags are great, but that means they have to go home and cook it and all that, whereas the grab-and-go meals right now might be the best meal of the day for them. And so I'm really glad that they have stepped up in such a huge way and providing those large number of meals that they're providing.
Yeah, we've been saying this from the get-go. I mean, again, I can't thank them enough, and I just do that because I hope that other government agencies, will, with the same type of logistical ability to do something huge like this. I mean, it's huge. But again, when we had the first positive cases going way back to, I think, March 16th, I mean, the next morning, Superintendent John Fernandez and the stakeholders, they were already talking about how to get meals to these kids and their families.
It's important.
Yep. So I can't thank you enough, Major Tom, for continuing to keep our islands most vulnerable and most helpless. You've been a steady voice even before COVID. I just want to thank you for that, and keep on doing the good work you're doing.
I appreciate that, and I think also too, like any disaster response, one of the things that when I talk to my officer peers in the States is that people of Guam are very resilient to disasters. I mean, we face them all the time, whether it's natural or whatever. This is a different kind of disaster, of course. But the island of Guam are very good about resilient about bouncing back and trying to find ways to make their lives get back to normal. And so we're glad that we have that resilience on island, and just keep praying for that resilience to keep coming through, because this disaster is not a quick sprint. I mean, this is a long marathon kind of response. We're going to be at this for a while. And so the better we pull together and pray for one another, we'll come out of this stronger and hopefully better equipped for something in the future. We don't want anything bad in the future like this to happen again, but should it, maybe we'll be better prepared for that as well.
Amen. And you guys are, I mean, we didn't see this coming, but I see you guys are, trying to do the best you can, and I think you are. So thank you, Major Tom.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
God bless.
There you go. Major Tom from the Salvation Army always gets me, man.
I know.
Gets me. 9:22. Let's go over to the NMI where our man in Saipan is on the line, Tomas Manglotnia. Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning,
Hi,
Chris.
Tomas.
Is it Friday yet?
It's not Friday. Is it Monday over there or what? So, Tomas, I know there's a lot of developments. Can we just kind of start with the big drop that came out on the CNMI governor's Facebook page about the NMI on the ground now has 20,000 COVID-19 test kits. And we're seeing in the comments, I mean, everybody and their Nino is commenting, how did they get 20,000 and we're only getting 400? So I guess we could get to that later.
I'm just going to say, how are they, you guys? These are rapid test kits. Where did they come from?
Yeah, can we get you guys as Connect or something?
Yes, and so wanted to provide some details. I'm, of course, going to be looking into this the entire rest of the day, if not the rest of the week. But the governor posted earlier this morning a video of him last night, April 13 at 11 p.m. at the Saipan airport waiting for test kits. He says that they've been working on it for 3 weeks. And as you said, Chris and Sabrina, as it's been reported, 20,000 test kits on board arrived last night. I got a chance to chat with the hospital CEO, Esther Munya. She says that they came in from South Korea. She also adds that they'll be used for identifying, surveilling, and containing any cases. She says the FDA-approved equipment will have same priority requirements as what CDC provides. She says that the test kits are the same shipment sent to the U.S., and after looking up some national reports, it was reported about 4 days ago and recently this morning by CNN that South Korea is sending 600,000 to 750,000 test kits to the United States. And so I'm not sure if this is part of that shipment, but it did come from South Korea. And so for the national shipment, FEMA, an agency within the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, awarded contracts to manufacturers in South Korea. And so you can see that the timeline matches up for the delivery that happened last night here on Saipan.
And just one more time, this is FDA approved, right? That's what you said?
I asked the CEO, Esther Munya, if they're U.S. FDA approved, and she says that they're approved by the equivalent of the FDA in Korea. And she points out that these are the same test kits that are being sent to the continental U.S.
Okay.
And The governor in that post said that there are more on the way, but we're not sure how many more specifically for the CNMI. The governor says he reiterates his gratefulness to the COVID-19 task force here, but also says that his goal since day one has been to test everyone 100%. He ends his message with saying that more are on the way and that everyone should stay home. So this is some, I think some enlightening news for the community, and definitely people, I think, might be breathing just a little easier this morning hearing that there's these test kits already here and more on its way, according to the governor's office.
Can you just rewind this? These are rapid test kits. You guys you have the capability in the CNMI to run these these tests?
So we're still waiting on more information. One of the questions I submitted to the press secretary this morning, he said that they're going to be releasing more details later today. I asked him, 20,000 test kits, what does one test kit entail? Does that mean that is it the rapid testing? Is it not?
You still need to send it to Guam.
We know that it's a large number, and they said they're expecting more, and we want to know exactly what this means and what these test kits are capable of doing. And as national media reporting, more are coming from South Korea to the U.S., which I assume would include the territories, since we did receive that shipment last night.
All right.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of hating going on here on Guam, Tomas. I just got to be honest with you. People are just like, how did they do that? But, did it have anything to do with your governor's close relationship with President Donald Trump?
I don't know. I'm going to assume that there's going to be a little bit of that information in whatever official release they give out in terms of when the request was put in. What he did share on that announcement on Facebook was that he's been working on this for 3 weeks. So I'm not sure if he's been, FEMA is involved based on national reports, but not sure who he exactly spoke with. I think it's worth mentioning, though, that also as of yesterday, I got an update that 7 specimens were planned to be collected yesterday, and so and they got a few negative results over the weekend from the pending cases, and so wanted to provide that update because I know folks saw that the last release was around last weekend, and they were wondering what happened to the pending cases. So more specimens being collected, and the results they got over the weekend were negative for some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chris and Bree, if I could share too, a lot of people are also still wanting to have a daily press conference or so. I think by our count, it's been about 15 days since the press had a briefing with the governor, and since the death was announced, first death in the CNMI related to COVID-19.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people are also waiting to hear from that and be able to ask more of these questions, especially with the thousands of test kits we apparently have now.
Yeah, we're all dealing with the frustration of accessibility and transparency. You guys aren't alone. We get a press conference every day, but we get 2 questions, and even that's up in the air sometimes, depending on your first question.
Yeah, so definitely going to get more info on these 20,000 test kits for all the viewers out there, wanting to know how it happened and what that looks like. The governor also saying that he's hoping to, put them into use in the next week or so.
Right, and so I think that's going to be the next thing is logistically, how do we get these 20,000 test kits out to the community to get people tested, right? And that's going to be what you're tracking down?
Yes, definitely. I've already had some private messages from viewers about, does this mean we're going to have drive-through testing? We don't know any of that yet, but we're going to get those questions answered for sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just sent an email to FEMA and see if we could get some information on whether they helped in the transportation of these test kits and, any kind of additional information as we wait for the CNMI governor to talk to you or me.
Yeah, what's the deal? Is he just scared to answer questions, or he's not he's not quick on his feet?
I don't know. I know Adriana put in a request to speak to him last week, and they said that they're able to do Zoom interviews.
I think she might have put in a request last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've requested a few times.
Yeah, we got close.
They're willing to do one-on-one interviews based on availability, and we know during this time availability is scarce. So,
right. Yeah. But
based on availability. All right.
I'm pretty sure they got someone who is the CNMI's Crystal Pacos and Augustine that can be made available to answer questions or try to answer questions.
Okay, well, we'll just put in the requests right now. We'd like to see if the CNMI governor or Kevin Bautista can do an interview any day.
Right. anytime. That's what I do. Tomas, and kudos to the media, because in dealing with, first of all, everyone's trying to save lives. We understand that, right? And then, the GovGuam, the governor's office, Adelut people, they're trying to, do what they can to organize the information going out there. So we get it. But what the media has done is we've rapidly evolved and we've learned to move around these barriers. And does it annoy the hell out of them? Yeah, it does. But, we got a responsibility to get this out to the people. So for every one person they put a muzzle on, we'll find two more that want to talk to us.
And we broadcast live in the CNMI on our stations. So, we understand the importance of getting the information out to not just residents here on Guam, but residents also in Saipan, Tinian, and Rota.
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely, I don't need to explain it to you both, but, there's so much importance in having the entire press be able to ask questions back to back, uncoordinated.
It's crazy. I don't understand why they don't get it. I mean, ooh.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
But you're doing a great job, Tomas.
You are, yeah.
We really, really appreciate everything that you're doing. I know you're going to school too, but thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. Hope to have more updates tomorrow and get these questions answered. So thanks again for all you do.
All right, you too.
All right. Tomas Manglotnia from the CNMI is actually on Saipan right now. Let's keep it moving on the phones. Did you have some?
Oh, no, I just wanted to give people a heads up and just a reminder that Tomas actually is going to be interviewing the CNMI congressman this Thursday. That will be live, I believe, at 10:15 right after our show.
Wow, a congressman who does interviews with the media? Where'd they get one of those? What the? 9:30. Let's go over back to the phones where we have from the Bureau of Budget Management and Research. He is the numbers money man, Lester Carlson. Good morning, Lester.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina.
Hi. I understand you wanted to come on and provide some clarification regarding a story that we ran and this transfer authority, this letter that the governor sent over to Speaker Tina Munya Barnes. That's what happens when you talk so fast.
Yeah. I know it's the mask. I'm watching you guys, and I know it's the mask. Don't worry.
So yeah,
hey, first of all, I was watching your wrap up with your CNMI correspondent and stuff, and I understand that there's a need for public awareness of what's going on, and I truly appreciate the job that you guys are doing in being able to disseminate, the information. Chris loves to hit me up with his iPhone, and he's like cameraman in a reporter, editor all at once, and he knows how to track me down. Nessa knows how to track me down.
Right.
The only thing that I wanted just to be absolutely clear about, and it's more of a nit than anything else, is the story that ran yesterday. It says that it ends by saying it's not clear if the $7 million is on top of the $4 million the governor indicated back in March that would be needed to cover the mandatory quarantine protocol.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to be on record as stating that the $7 million is the fund source that we're using to take care of the quarantine facilities and other associated costs that are necessary for supplies, equipment, ventilators, masks, all that stuff. The $4 million that we were initially going to tap included utilizing some broad applications of the governor's emergency powers. And that included taking monies from agencies that we traditionally have no authority to take money from, including the judiciary and the legislature. But given the broad nature of the statute, given the public health emergency, we were going to, and these are all general funded agencies. So we were going to expand the ability to pick mangoes from somebody else's tree. We thought about that, and we kind of decided not to pursue that simply because right after we did that, we got some word on the stimulus program and the speed in which we hope some of this stimulus aid will come into Guam. Therefore, we thought, okay, well, listen, let's not impact specifically the judiciary and the legislature unnecessarily. Let's just go back and pick, $7 million worth of mangoes from, within the governor's 15% transfer authority. So the last part of the story just basically says it's not clear if the 7 is on top of that. We haven't done the $11 million transfer. We are only doing the $7 million.
Okay, so that's cleared up. $4 million out the door. We're just taking the $7 million based on the letter that we sent on April 2nd to the speaker. That money's coming from GPD, DOC, DYA, Guahan Academy Charter Schools, UOG, GCC, Public Health, and the Commission on Decolonization. I'm not sure if I got all of them in there, but that's where the money is coming from, or has
Pretty
been.
much. And then on top of that, I had my staff call and get a hold of every single agency and let them know when the stimulus money comes in, we will transfer these funds back.
Right.
So we're trying to make people whole once the stimulus money comes in.
So how much money total has been transferred out? How much money is the governor using your transfer authority to help support COVID?
Oh, it's just this and $350,000, because when she issued her first emergency declaration, that's normally accompanied by a $250,000 appropriation to cover the costs under that emergency. So we did a $250,000 transfer, and then we did because she declared a public health emergency, there's a statutory authorization that allows her to transfer $100,000. So it's $7 million, but before that, it was $350,000. So we're at $7,350,000 right now.
So $7.3 million in transfer authority.
With the hopes of being able to, restore everybody once the stimulus money comes in.
Okay. Is there like a limit? You said 15% was her transfer authority that she has?
15% of the general fund agencies under which she has control. If we took a broad stroke of 15% of the general fund, which is like, these $800 million, it sounds like a lot of money, but when she's restricted in she can't take money from, like, say, under normal circumstances, the judiciary and the legislature and a few other DOE operations fund. Now, those are taboo. So, so you have to take into account the totality plus the exceptions to be able to get down to what it is that she has legislative authority to do.
So what is that amount?
Pardon me?
What is that amount that she can spend up to?
We've never had to go that high, thank God.
And hopefully we don't.
We've like last year, we had to clean up some of the books, and we transferred $5 million just to be able to take care of outstanding government of Guam health insurance premiums for the retirees, the retiree medical dental life premiums. We had a change in carrier, but we had an obligation to a company that provided insurance services for 2019. So instead of adding to the deficit, we made a cognizant decision to.
So are you guys having to redo the budget? The numbers that you guys submitted it, when was it, in March, whenever the deadline was, and the budget has to be passed, a new one for next fiscal year. It would seem that, considering what's happened with COVID and money that's being moved around, that new numbers would have to come out, a new projection. Are you guys working on that?
Yeah, we submitted the budget as required by law on January 31st.
Yeah. That was the $1 billion budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the governor's executive budget request for 2021. And if you look at the timelines, COVID was not anywhere near what we thought it would have, become. We recently issued the numbers for February, because once we close the books on February receipts, we issue a revenue report that covers the general fund, and a special fund report that covers the tourist attraction fund and Guam Highway Fund and Customs Fund. Those numbers just happened to show at that point in time that the COVID pandemic hasn't really affected the government yet, but we still went ahead and instituted some plans that the governor announced. I think she did that in March, where we were doing things like extending payments for BPT, waiving interest and things of that nature.
Yeah,
so we've done essentially $31 million worth of cuts. We will be issuing the March Consolidated Revenue and Expense Report, which is really where most of the information comes from, because the taxes are shown in that one, and then the Special Revenue Fund, which shows what the tourist attraction numbers are coming in. That's a different report, but they're issued on the same day. We'll have a better idea for public consumption discussion and where do we go next once we have those numbers, because if you look at the numbers now, it's not evidencing itself from the February numbers, but the March numbers will be coming out very soon.
Are we going to have to see measures like they're doing in the CNMI, where they're having to furlough people, they're having to reduce their budget expenses by 50%? Do you foresee drastic initiatives having to be implemented here?
I don't. I pray that we don't have to do anything like that, simply because the situation in Saipan was long in the making, and it was just like they've been just like hit with typhoons and other kinds of things, and this was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. I pray for them. I pray for the people in Puerto Rico who just can't seem to get a break. I'm looking out my window right now, and it's a beautiful day. I don't foresee a meaningful reduction in government services, and also, more importantly, the contributions that the government as a whole makes to the community in far as contracts for services, which it's vitally needed to keep the economy moving while we transition back into opening up more retail and getting people, back into work. Hopefully, the plans to stand up the unemployment benefits to Guam, the stimulus money, and other federal programs will be received on Guam quicker, so that we can get the aid out to people quicker, to then hopefully, have a little bit of a stopgap between now and when the new fiscal year begins. So we have a better idea of where we are with respect to regaining some semblance of normalcy. I can't tell you right now that we're going to do X, Y, and Z, because the numbers that I have right now and the reduction in tourist arrivals that we announced back in March were predicated on having 300,000 less tourist arrivals, and the associated financial impact that resulted in. We're probably going to have to revisit those numbers, particularly as it relates to the tourism industry. And somebody was asking whether or not the Roosevelt crew occupying rooms in Tumon is going to be, like a injection. Well, under normal circumstances, it would be a windfall, because they would be out and spending money, but they're not out spending money. They're in the hotel under quarantine. So there's a benefit, but does that benefit, is it a true extension of what would normally occur with people in the military staying, in 2 months? No, but stay tuned. We will have as much information available for discussion based upon projections and trends, the receipt of federal money, and how that money is.
That's 130 million, right, Lester? That's what we're looking at. I think I heard
that was just the economic stimulus.
Right.
There are other buckets of money. There's the CARES Act has.
So Les,
I think it's 300 million in federal assistance.
Nice. So what we want to ask is there a chance that after all this, with getting these hundreds of millions of dollars of Uncle Sam's money, that we could actually end up sitting prettier than we were before COVID, or no?
Chris, if it doesn't get any worse, I think that we will be able to mitigate a lot of what has transpired by assisting where our focus really is on the private sector and helping the Department of Labor stand up that unemployment assistance program. We're really, really, really trying to get people who are currently affected by reduced or no hours some income. So if things start to come back to normal sooner rather than later, and God knows what sooner means, then I just think that we'll I don't think we're going to benefit. That's probably the wrong word, but will we have mitigated some of what it is that could have been worse? And I think the answer, Chris, to your question is we hope that it's mitigated to a great degree. Whether or not there's going to be anything that even resembles a surplus at the end of the year, I doubt that. But will it help with the bleeding that's occurring now? It certainly will.
Mm-hmm. So just for clarification, what we can expect is a revised budget to be submitted to the legislature?
I'm sure we're going to have to, because everything that we did was based upon information and projections that it starts with revenues that we're comfortable achieving, and then we allocate to agencies accordingly. And that was done. The revenue adoption that we presented to the governor that she approved, that was done in like late December, early January. So yes, there has to be some real, frank discussions on revenue. When are we going to be able to have a meaningful discussion on that? Certainly, not now. Right now, there's too much influx.
Right.
But that's why the process is what the process is. Normally, these budget hearings begin in June. Because the legislature is required by law to pass a budget by August 31st. So, we'll know more, and hopefully the longer time, period allows for the dust to settle and things to come back a little bit back to normal.
So are you guys already anticipating when this happens? If we're still on these orders, is there going to be like a Zoom thing where they're going to be able to ask you questions about, the money situation? Is that even...
you mean the legislature?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing about that is we've been trying to do some stuff, here within the administration, and it takes patience, and it takes some order, because everybody should have their device on mute and your video on, and then you gotta raise your hand. So
you only get 2 questions.
Well, no.
Well, Lester, they might mute you if you're saying stuff they don't want to hear. They'd be like, mute.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean,
we don't like those numbers.
Yeah.
You guys know what it's like being in a public setting at a public hearing. Sometimes you get interrupted, so it's going to be difficult to have a dialogue under what is normal communication circumstances, let alone one that's more structured. But listen, I for one have a pre-existing, I'm an at-risk individual, so I am really very, very, very averse to going to places that I haven't been to. I go to my office and I go home, and that's about it.
Well, that's what you should be doing anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Lester.
And every once in a while, some wind therapy, but that's by myself, so that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Lester.
We're going to keep your number handy.
No, Sabrina, I understand when I talked to Nestor yesterday, you might not have had my number. Listen, Nestor calls me, Chris calls me. Please, feel free to call me.
I definitely will.
Oh, you just made a big mistake right there, Lester.
No. I've known Sabrina since ever since.
Yeah, no, but she's a little too giddy to have your number. Thank you, Lester.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
Okay,
Okay, be safe.
Lester Carlson, BBMR. Well, there you go. That's a conversation we've been wanting to have for a little bit now. Is like with the budget, where are we? Can we just get a final reading of the numbers from the JIC, and then we're gonna end on a little nice note for you guys.
A nice note. Okay. The Joint Information Center, the latest release that we received from them was at around 10 o'clock last night. Out of the tests that were taken by or done by the Department of Public Health, there were zero positive results. But there was one, and I believe that was the clinically diagnosed cases. Let me just make sure, because I'm just reading it off the top of my head. So there was one confirmed clinically diagnosed case. So that brings the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases on Guam to 134. There have been 58 recoveries and 5 deaths. Also, if you joined us earlier, there is one casualty of a sailor assigned to the USS Theodore Roosevelt. His name has not yet been released until his next of kin is notified. It was on March 30th. The sailor tested positive and was removed off the ship, and he was placed in an isolation house on the naval base with 4 other sailors. At about 8:30 in the morning on April 9th, that was last week, the sailor was found unresponsive during a daily medical check. While Naval Base Guam emergency responders were notified, CPR was administered by fellow sailors, and then he was transferred to Naval Hospital, where the sailor was moved to ICU. As of today, 92% of the crew aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt have been tested. 585 have tested positive for COVID-19, and 3,921 have tested negative, with 4,021 sailors that have been moved ashore.
All right, 9:51, containing COVID. Again, there's so many ways to catch the show, and we want to thank each and every one of you for catching it where you are, getting it live on the radio, 93.9 FM. Also, 8 to 10, KUAM TV 11. We throw the second half of the show on there, streaming live, the KUAM News Facebook page. Thank you so much. A special shout out to my girl, Rosalind Aguero. Hey, girl.
He misses you, Rosalind. I haven't seen you on here in a while.
haven't had a man meat comment, and you lead me on, and then you leave me hanging. Yeah, she's there. So
she's there. Okay.
Yep. Oh my goodness, Chris, please stay home. You are at risk of me ravaging that sweet brown sugar.
What?
That's what I'm talking about.
Did I miss that?
Woo! She might have just put it on. Yep, talk about stepping up your game. That's what I'm talking about.
Sweet brown sugar. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, on that note, well, can you see me blushing or no?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Let's get Tom Akagami of the Trench Up family. Tom, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
So we got this release, and you guys did some great things with the PPEs. I just want to thank you, and then maybe if Brina, you guys could you could tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, you guys had you guys use your old shirts, right? Or shirts that you guys
had a stock. We had remaining stock of our past event shirts that were unopened, still in plastic and boxes that we were holding on to. And the idea came from my logistics director, Jeff Rios. He was like, "Hey, we should do something, and if they could use the shirts that we have, we should just donate them." And I was looking around, and I stumbled across this volunteer group called PPE for Guam, and they were doing face masks. They were 3D printing face masks, the shields. And I asked them if they needed materials for masks, and they're like, "Yes, actually, we have volunteers sewing up fabric masks, but we are planning to set up a 3D laser CNC machine, or a laser CNC machine to cut out mask templates so they could sew them up faster."
Oh, wow.
And so, so we asked, hey, we have these shirts. They're made out of 100% polyester. They're dry fit material. They're antimicrobial. Can they be used? And took a couple days. They got back to us and they're like, yes, we can. So we arranged the drop-off, and that was it.
How many shirts did you guys donate?
About 300 or more.
Oh, wow. Well, it's definitely going to a good cause. Is there any, we're getting ready to wrap up the show. Is there any final comments that you wanted to make? Message to the community?
Man, stay strong. We just got a couple more weeks to go, so stay home. That's all I can say. And then we are going to be doing a trench challenge, quarantine challenge from home. So stay tuned for that. Check out our Facebook and our Instagram. We will be posting up challenges, which will be awarded with some prizes from our sponsors.
Wow. I was just thinking that, cool. I might rearrange the living room and make a little obstacle because I haven't been getting a workout in. So maybe I flip the couch upside down or do something. I'm going to wait for this, Tom. Make sure you let us know.
Yeah.
We'll do.
All right. Take care.
And thank you so much, Tom. You were a COVID hero.
Bye.
All right.
So this is what's so funny, and you can probably see it when I go back into my office, but I actually was going to make a mask out of one of my old Trench Challenge shirts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're quite the sewer here.
A coincidence. Anyway.
Yeah, so thank you, Tom Akagami. And we're going to get someone from PPE Guam. I know they're really organized. Yeah. We had them on before, but maybe because they have different things that they're doing within that PPE Guam organization. So thank you so much to those guys.
Yep. And thank you, everybody that's out there listening, watching, streaming, and more importantly, thank you to all of our frontline heroes. And as we talked about earlier with the woman that called in about what happened to her and her family in Dededo, we all have to stick together. We have to work together. Join your neighborhood watch program. GPD has stressed that in many interviews that we've done with Paul to Pal. If you haven't, contact your village mayor. Get onto this neighborhood watch program WhatsApp chat groups. I know that they have them in Dededo and in Barricada. I've seen it in Jigo. So please do what you can. Help your neighbor out.
And
stay home.
Stay home! You got to say it like that, Bree, to scare people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All right. Well, Guam, it's been great. Thank you to everybody who watched, listened to the show again.
And
please
thanks to our callers, too.
Yeah, definitely. Please.
Good to hear from Lester.
Yeah, it is. Share it. Get the info out there. And as always, every day when we wake up in the morning here at KUAM News, our number one priority is to give you all the info you need to know to weather this COVID crisis. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you. Emergency session is underway. You can watch that on YouTube. Also, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we are streaming, broadcasting right here on I-94 FM, actually, the governor's daily press conferences. So you'll get an opportunity to ask our 2 questions.
Right. And I just wanted to, because in our news chat, they were talking about session being underway, and Esther had put a quote in here. I'm pretty sure it's from the floor. We're going to go into a quick recess so everyone can just relax. So, the senators, too, you see, and they're acting with great urgency on their ideas.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to watch. So, at 9:57, thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Hey, thank you to Joe, sir, Ken Sanity. Most importantly, everyone out there who continues to support us in what we do. It's 9:57. Going to leave you with the late Ken Joe Ada and I Love Guam. Guahusi Chris. Joe.
Bye.
Take a trip with me to an island that I call home, where you can roll your windows down and feel the breeze, stick your foot out, 5 biggies. Oh, I wouldn't change it for the world, 'cause I love Guam, I love you, I've got love for all my jet loose. Little island